Clobberin time!
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger, ready to move out.
Clobberanimo!
Stronger than a whale. He can breathe anywhere. He can breathe. Well, wait a minute. I got it wrong. I looked at the wrong. We'll sing the song later. What the hell? Submariner tonight, folks. Stay tuned. We'll try to add a little bit of dignity back to the character that I just ruined up by messing a song up. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Clobberin Times Wildcard Wednesday night. We have something of a topic, I think. Hello there, my friends. What a crowd we have already. My goodness. Yes. What's up? Had a good time over there hanging with my great friend Loki and the gang in 24 and Classic Comics, talking the comics at the comics round table there. So great blokes, a lot of fun. And now here we are on our Wednesday night special. Well, a Wednesday night special. We got a lot of man, now just remembering there's all kind of other stuff of pictures I'm supposed to load for upcoming events and things like that, and show notes and all that stuff that I have failed to load up because I forget things too often. Anyway, hello everybody, what's up? Welcome to Clobberin Times, issue number whatever it is. Who cares what issue number it is anyway? I mean, what are we doing here? Are we organized? No, we're just clobbering. It's Wednesday night. Pretty lackadaisical most nights, and tonight I'm just kind of loopy. I don't know, but we'll get it together. We'll pull it together. We'll talk a little bit of Namor, the Submariner. It's not going to be like a deep dive history or anything like that. Nah, not that I would not do that one night, by the way, but this is just to show the character a little respect because he was completely disrespected in my opinion, and in the opinion of others, not everybody, of course, but in my opinion, he was completely disrespected by the idiots who unjustly own the rights to produce material with his name. So we're going to just talk a little bit about that tonight. But before we do, let's take care of a few show notes. First of all, I want to thank everybody who showed up last night. First of all, everyone who showed up Monday night as well, of course, for the tribute to our late, great voice of the bat, Kevin Conroy. Appreciate you all so much for that. And then last night for our Clobberin Time special book announcement for our wonderful first officer's new book. Thank you all who helped out with that. Thank you all who supported her on that. And thanks to everyone who has already ordered the book. We cannot thank you enough. We really appreciate you. And I know number one, appreciate you as well, our wonderful first officer. So thank you, everyone, for being here with us last night. We had a great crowd. You were all very supportive and very nice. And again, thank you. And a big shout out to the great Tom with Midnight's Edge for his assistance last night. Everyone who helped, though. Also, our good buddy Doomcock is out there. He's on, right now on the Pop Culture Breakdown, and I know he's promised he would help out with that as well. And again, really appreciate his participation and everyone. So we're going to help promote this book. Let's do this for our wonderful friend and wonderful first officer. We love you, Raquel. And I hope you're feeling better wherever you are out there. So let's see. Tomorrow night, of course. It'll just be the number one and myself again running the clubhouse. Our good buddy Mark D with the C, our chief engineer, will not be able to make it tomorrow night. He has another road mission or away mission to go on, but we will handle it. We'll be here for a lot of fun for the clubhouse. So looking forward to that tomorrow night as always. Let's see here. Then Friday night, hopefully I'll be hanging out with Nick, my great buddy Nick Weiser on the comic book shop panel. As always, as usually on Friday nights. And then, of course, Saturday night Star Trek, of course, with 4 more astounding episodes of Deep Space Nine to review. So, looking forward to that, of course. And then, of course, hopefully hang out on Mark's Sunday Night Geekery at 10 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully he'll be back for that on Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, as said. And then Monday will be a special 2-for double feature for Clobberin Times. In addition to the usual Monday Night Mark C Comics Talk, which will be at 9 p.m. as it always is. I'll be here. At 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to have a special classic commies. Commie now. Clobbies. Classic comics review. You got to slow down when you talk at this game. And I've still never learned that. I've always screwed up. So we're going into the crazy world, the crazy earth that is Earth B. Bob Haney. For those of you who don't know, it's going to be an education and wackiness. B for Bob Haney, B for Earth, B for Earth Bonkers. The great J-Man, my buddy J-Man will be joining me. We will be reviewing one of the craziest comic books you're ever going to experience in your life. The Brave and the Bold, number 124. This will be a Monday Night Mark C Comics Talk special edition. Again, at an earlier time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Then, of course, later I'll come back after we do that show and do my standard Monday Night Mark C Comics Talk. And so I'm looking forward to that. This is, if you love comics and you want to hear just about as nutty a story as you're ever going to hear in your life, you're going to want to check this out. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, yes, indeed. Batman and Sergeant Rock. And if you haven't read this one, buckle up. Buckle up, Buttercup. So, let's start saying some hellos out there. Let's see who is with us here tonight. I don't know yet because I haven't checked. But I do see that, well, I always like to shout out our great wrenches who do so much for us, of course. And that is, of course, and I see him here. Hey, what's up, Eric K., brother? The great bronze wrencher. Eric K., good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Chris Persia, the man, our great friend and the Vindicator Wrench of the North. Chris Persia, thank you, buddy, for all you do. The great D. Bud Martin, the Wrench of Iron. Always great to have you here and helping us out, man. I don't even know I can't see the chat, everyone, so I don't know who's here yet. It's just so you know. So, but whether they're here or not, we like to shout our dear friends out because they do so much for us, our wrenches, and it's much appreciated. Let's see here. Lord Thoth is here. Hey, buddy. Avon lives and long live the Legion, the great Lord Thoth. What's up, brother? Always good to see you, buddy. We saw you over there at the round table, man, and it's good to have you, my friend. Good to see you. Michelle Rourke Johansson. Hello there, my dear. I hope you were doing well, and I hope you were feeling well this evening. Sorry. It is good to see you. I see that our wonderful first officer has popped in, but she says, can't join in the chat. I don't know if you're hearing me, number one, but I love you, and I want you too sick. Oh, my goodness. Well, just feel better. Go rest. Go take a nap. Do whatever you got to do. Just feel better. Don't worry about this. We got this. Gwagnar, what is up, my friend? Gwagnar. Starting to get over the C word also, says Gwagnar. Sorry about that, my friend. I hope you're feeling much better there, Gwagnar. Thank you for being here. Let's see here. Got a lot of conversation going. Phantom Outsider. What's up, Fanty? Good to see you, bud. Hang on, let's see if we got anyone else that I have not said hello to yet. We got a lot of talking going on, but it's all amongst each other, so I haven't seen. I think I may have already acknowledged everyone who's here. Double C. See, I didn't. I mean, good to see you, Double C. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. Brian Hepburn. Hello there, my friend. Good to see you. And of course, I shall acknowledge anyone who shows up for us tonight. But yes, now I can go back and get the lyrics right. At least I can do. Stronger than a whale, he can swim anywhere. He can breathe underwater and go flying through the air. The noble submariner, the prince of the deep, so beware you deadly demons. Lord Namor of Atlantis is the prince of the deep. Zachariah. Sorry about that. Sorry to torture everyone. But it's not as torturous as what Marvel Disney has done to this great character, the Submariner. Well, their version's not the Submariner. As for those who do not know, there is a movie soiling film screens the world over right now called Black Panther, that is Wakanda for Never. Oh yeah, look. Oh, LT, I love those old Marvel superheroes themes. They're fantastic. And it's destroying. Again, I've talked at length about the movie, so I'm not here to review the movie. It sucks. It's a terrible movie. Spoiler alert. It does trash T'Challa, but in my opinion, and I've said this a lot, the original film, the first movie, trashes T'Challa. I don't like the way they handle this character. I love Chadwick Boseman now. He's great in Civil War, and he's great as the character, and he's great in that movie. But I don't like the way they don't emphasize his genius like he was in the comic. I don't like the way that so much attention is taken away from him by the female characters and stuff. JT Kirk, what's up, buddy? Just don't like that movie. But I dislike this one a lot more. This one not only does not, if they choose not to recast the character, it's funny how you, in a sense, you kill off, not in a sense, they killed off a fictional character because the actor portraying him unfortunately passes away, and it makes no sense. Yeah, at least they didn't call him Submariner. That's right. Look who's, oh my goodness, Six is here. Oh, with a $10 super sticker. Six, you are too kind. Thank you so much, my dear. I appreciate you. Love Six. We love you there. Hope you're doing well. Oh, it's a heart thingy. Is that a cat or something, or holding a heart thing? Yeah. But I'll tell you what, Six, I'm honored and thankful for you. Thank you so much, my dear. You are too kind. Thank you. And I hope you're doing well tonight, Six. You're a lot smarter than I am, because I understand, if I remember correctly, you said you didn't even stay for the whole terrible movie of Black Panther, Wakanda for Never, Ironhide 84. Good to see you. Like I said, I'm rating it at the bottom, even worse than the Turtles. I really hated the movie in every single way as a movie and everything about it. And of course, for those who have not heard, not in the same case, the next rant. And if I don't have a link to it here, but if I put a link, I don't have one. If someone can get one, Captain Infinity and Beyond. What's up, buddy? But Mexican Iron Man's rant on Wakanda for Never perfectly, absolutely 100% perfectly encapsulates all of my views on the movie. I agree with everything he said. It was horrific and horrible and offensive and garbage. And so I agree. As far as the movie is concerned, I totally agree with him on that. I hate it. Phantom Outsider says I refuse to watch Wakanda. He actually did say Imperious Rex in Mayan or whatever, and they put it on the screen. They translated it. So he didn't say it in English. In the movie, they have the nerve to actually have him say Imperious Rex once. So anyway, like I said, I'm not going to do a deep dive on the history of the character or anything like that. We're all geeks here. Most people know everything about him as far as, or his origin, Namor Mackenzie's origin, and we all know he's an anti-hero. We all know he started out as very belligerent towards the surface world, always was. We know pretty much all that kind of stuff about him. We know how nevertheless he teamed up with the Axis, against the Axis rather. He teamed up with guys in World War II because he wanted to stop the Yazis, and he teamed up with the All Winter Squad, which was kind of later retconned as the as invaders. Comes in the 70s and stuff. And so he teamed up with Captain America and the original Human Torch, and of course Toro and such, and Bucky, Union Jack, and all these people to fight in World War II. But he was always he was definitely a nemesis of the surface world. Definitely what many consider to be the classic anti-hero, and he's been around for 83 years. The Submariner, again, as we all know here, not telling you anything you don't know. And he's the favorite character of many of us. He's not my favorite, but he's the character that I have way up there on my list, and just love him. I always loved Subby. They called him the mole in the movie. I don't know. I just sang the song. Did you hear it? Okay. I'll plague you with the song one more time. I'm sorry, but this is the true Namor song, of course. Stronger than a whale, he can swim anywhere. He can breathe underwater. He'll go flying through the air. And the noble Submariner, Prince of the Deep. So beware your deadly demons. Lord Namor of Atlantis is the Prince of the Deep. Other than crappy singing, I don't think I can get any trouble. So, there you go. Captain James T. Skywalker. Sorry about that. I love that song. I love those Marvel songs. Well, there you go, Michelle. And again, he was from Atlantis. Actually, he was the the half human, half Atlantean child of the Queen of Atlantis and a gentleman named Mackenzie. So he was described as by his creator, Bill Everett, as of course having these extraordinary powers. Here is the Submariner, an Ultraman of the deep, lives on land and in the sea, flies in the air, has the strength of 1,000 men, is a youth of dynamic personality, quick thought and fast action. From whence does he come and what is his mission? One of the greatest comic book creators of all time, Bill Everett, created the Submariner. Originally, he was supposed to appear in Motion Picture Funnies #1, which was to be distributed to movie theaters and stuff, and it was never actually distributed or sold. So he first appeared in Marvel Comics #1, which I should have got a picture of it. I forgot to get a picture of that because I'm an idiot. But anyway, anyway, I'll get a picture of it. I'll pull out a picture of it in time. Because it's pretty easy to find a picture of that. But anyway, so like I said, for those who don't know, Namor, proceeded to help the good forces of the world to fight the Yazis, if you will, the bad guys in WW2. So get this picture here. Come on, man. Don't give me that stuff. All right, no. Okay. I'm getting it, folks. But I forgot to put that picture up there. I don't know what happened. Anyway, he's not even on the cover, so it doesn't matter much, but Subby. Marvel. All right. So I'll get that picture up there. Okay. So sorry about that, folks. So Subby appeared in Marvel Comics more, and then he got his own title, of course. But I'll tell you, the first time I saw him was in a reprint, and I think it was in one of those Origins of Marvel Comics trade paperbacks from Fireside from the early 70s when they were reprinting some of the older stuff there. It was the first time I ever laid eyes on him, because he was revived in the Silver Age in Fantastic Four #4. But of course, I didn't put a picture of that up here either because I was just busy doing so much stuff. I didn't get a chance to prepare anything today and yesterday. But just so you know, here's the cover of the first comic he appeared on, and yes, he wasn't even on the cover, so a big buzzkill right there, right? So when I first see him, of course, this is his revival. He'd been around. He was all through the 40s and through the World War II comics and stuff like that. Then he was also they even kind of brought him back for a little while. And in the 50s, he had his own comic for a while as well. But then somewhere mid 50s, I want to say ballpark. Now I'm ballparking a lot of this stuff from dumb memory. So, if I missed some stuff here and there, he was gone for a good number of years. And I certainly don't want to say forgotten. But it had been a while since anyone had heard from Subby at some point until the Fantastic Four come on the scene. And for Fantastic Four #4, and I remember seeing this reprint or getting the reprint of this in that Marvel trade I was telling you about. And it blew me away. For those who don't know the story, basically, Johnny Storm is pissed off at the FF treating him like a kid. So he goes running around. I guess he goes just walking around the town or whatever. It's been a while since I've read this issue. I should reread it. And he finds this old vagabond, this old man with a scraggly beard, or seemingly old man anyway, scraggly beard, and in this shelter or whatever, and if I remember correctly. Yeah, in the Bowery Flop House. There you go. Thank you, fan. That's right. He lost his memory because of a nuke blast. So anyway, I'll never forget it. Johnny, when he finds him, starts he shaves his beard off with his heat, with his heat and his fire, and eventually Subby's mind comes back, or his memory comes back, and he turns into Subby. Subby's gonna Subby, right? Yeah, classic stuff. And then, of course, he just decides to plague the Marvel Universe, to trouble the Marvel Universe, to go after the surface dwellers again. But, it's originally the first one to fight him was the original Human Torch. And then later when he did make allies of the other superheroes, but now he's back with a grudge again. And let's see. Michelle says, "Did you know? I want to say about 2 years ago, an article came out that a shipwreck near Italy, the hull of the wreck, they found 20 pieces of ingots and artifacts made from the same element that Plato said Atlantis was made of." I did not know that. I didn't know. I did not know that at all. Wow. I am always fascinated by some of the stuff with Atlantis. Anyway, Subby, though, comes back, and of course, we all know Subby just becomes Subby. He's a jerk. And he has some very memorable comic book moments, including one of the greatest issue. This here is one of the greatest comics of the Silver Age, but so was this one. Daredevil #7. At this time, Daredevil's already fought some other superheroes, of course. I'm jumping all over the place, but Subby's already fought some other superheroes. But man, this is such a great comic. This is a comic book. I bring this up because in this garbage movie, this for those without, I'm not spoiling much, but the whole plot is Namor, the non-submariner, not Namor as we should call him, basically wants to kidnap granted she's annoying, Riri Williams, but he wants to kidnap a 19-year-old girl and murder her because she's invented this device that can find vibranium. Okay, I'm sorry, that's not Namor. No, Namor would never do that. Namor was a prick, okay? He was a total jackass anti-hero. He'd smack around other superheroes, but he would never execute an innocent girl for not committing any kind of crime whatsoever. She just invented something, which is dumb it's dumb that she invented it, by the way, of course. But Namor wouldn't do that. So right away, their plot screws Namor over by making him, he's not noble at all. He's just a shitbag. Hey, it's in those words, baby. It's in those words of the song even. The noble submariner, prince of the deep. Exactly. Thought this plot is so 2022 stupid. It's garbagey, filthy trash. So right there, it's bad. He looks horrible anyway. With all this stupid. This is not Namor. It's not Atlantis, and he's not Submariner, obviously. And I wish they should have just went all the way and got rid of the wings on the feet, got rid of the green trunks and the pointed ears, and just go all your way. Don't even get close to him and call him something else, for Christ's sake. I would have had more respect if he were just a slight ripoff of similar aspects of Namor, but was just basically a dumb villain, than them trying to pass this off as their version of Namor. That's what really sucks. Chris Perzo says, Clobby, what was the point of trying to kidnap and terminate a girl who invented, a vibranium detector shield when the UN and everybody already has the location of the nothing? It makes no sense. Ryan Coogler, you're a moron. And yes, you're the one who made the movie. So no, it makes no sense because, like you said, killing her does not end the threat anyway. Why would killing, as if she's the only one that could come up with it? As if she didn't say, as if the government didn't take all of her info on it. It's so stupid. Everything about this movie is asinine and moronic. It's bad. But just in terms, right now we're sticking with the Submariner himself. This automatically, and that is also a good point there, Phantom. He says, if Namor wanted someone dead, he killed him himself. Getting someone else to do the dirty work is an Atuma move. Well, yeah, Atuma's in this, though, and he's not even really Atuma. But still, I don't think he would go after an innocent girl and murder her, much less bring her back to not Atlantis and murder her. So that was stupid. Colonizer, what's up, Colonizer Jeebus? Killing her would be a warning to land dwellers into meddling into his world. It still wouldn't work. No, that wasn't Atuma. That was just some dude that get called Atuma. Just like Namora wasn't Namora. So anyway, this comic here, he talks about, Daredevil has no superpowers. He's fighting a guy that can slug it out with the Hulk. We'll get into that a little bit later. So Namor easily defeats Daredevil at the end of this comic who's trying to stop him from going after the surface world in New York. We even tried to talk him into, doing it, taking his grievances legally. And at the end of it, Namor's easily defeated Daredevil and none of the other guys were around. So he says, basically, it's not a tumor. I know. That's everyone's favorite joke. I get you. Namor says, I have fought the Fantastic Four, the Hulk, and other superpowered beings, and yet you, the most vulnerable of them all, showed more courage than any of them, whatever, or the bravest of them all, the most vulnerable of them all. And out of respect for Daredevil's courage, he, in a gesture of honor to his fallen foe, he left. That's one of the greatest comic. And I have this cover on a shirt, by the way. I love this Wally Wood cover right here. Fantastic. Subby would go on to get his own series after he had actually this one special right here, the special where he doesn't even hang out with Iron Man in this one. But why am I even listening? One of my favorite characters is ruined. I don't know why you're listening, LT, but I'm glad you are. And he's one, like I say, he's one of my favorite characters as well. I love him. And just to talk a little bit about, I'm gonna get off the movie in a minute. I just wanted to say that my point is, at the end of the goddamn movie, this idiot little girl in a stupid costume, I don't care that she enhanced her powers. I don't care that she pulled the trick on him. She kicks his ass. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, D-Bud. I love this cover. The John Buscema cover's greatness. She kicks Namor's ass, folks. It's just ridiculous. Well, he's not Namor. Not more. I keep forgetting he's not more, everyone. Let's remember this. This is not the Submariner. Let's just remember this. This is not more. Not Namor. Yeah, it was great. I wish he hadn't left the Defenders either. It's not more. Not more indeed. There you go. But I mean, this is a guy that, yeah, he had his agenda. I mean, he hung out with. Look, he used to hang out with Dr. Doom sometimes. For God's sake, Namor's a prick. He also used to try to steal, and in fact did it a couple times, steal Susan from Reed Richards. I don't know, Thoth. Hey, Glenser, good to see you. Thoth, that's a good question, buddy. I do not know why they won't get things right. Again, like I said, I would have more respect, or at least appreciation, if they simply made a character. If they wanted to do this stupid character, make the same shitty, lousy movie, just make him a guy that would have made fans go, they kind of ripped off Namor with that one. I'd rather a Namor ripoff, and don't even call him that. Don't even give him the green trunks. They made him look very different, of course. And they should have gone all the way and got rid of the wings on the feet and all this stuff, and just disassociate everything with Namor. But so my biggest point is, this guy gets his ass handed to him by a little girl. Sorry, that's not sexist. She's a little girl compared to him. When this is a guy that could and has routinely slugged it out with Marvel's big guns. He's fought the heavy hitters, folks. It's a guy that can slug it out with the Hulk, Iron Man, and Thor, and the Thing, and of course the Human Torch. Sean, what's up, buddy? Great line. There you go. Sean, Namor manages to make any chair he sits upon seem like a royal throne. That's a great line. I forgot about that. I need to reread number 7 again. But yeah, he's such a. Look at this, man. Oh, this guy can fight the big guys, but they put him in this movie and punk him like a bitch. Ryan Coogler, this is what you did, you jackass. You took an 83-year-old legend of a character, and the first time he gets near a cinematic experience, a cinematic translation, you do this to him. You jackass. And I don't mean to, I don't care. I'm not going to be nice. Guy's a jerk off. Guy's a total jerk for doing that. And he doesn't care. He doesn't have any respect for the character. I get it. Hey, LT, you want to come on and talk about, you're welcome to come talk to me about this if you want. I mean, I know you're probably busy and it's late, but I would love to talk to you about this one day, if not tonight. But this is, yeah, like I said, I was not really up to do like something of you have to work at 6 hours. I understand. But I mean, like I say, you're welcome to. But I'm pissed off about it. I'm not like that's why I wasn't really here so much to do a retrospective on the character. Oh, I mean, do you want a link there, buddy? I would be glad to send you one. Let me find you on the Twitch there. I've had it. This really pisses me off, man. I gotta find you. It's been a while since I've emailed you. But I know you're here somewhere. Whoa, where are you? I'll find you, buddy. It's been a while since I've emailed you. Hang on. Where are you? Oh, not tonight, but soon. Oh, okay, I got you. I couldn't even find your DM. It's been so long since I've DM'd you. Okay, well, we'll talk about it. Who knows? Maybe the guys on the comic shop. I'll see if Nick wants to talk about this. If you're game Friday night, I'll see if we can. Oh, you're more than welcome to come on, dude. That's all up to you, man. I'm the one with nothing to do. You got like a life and everything. I haven't had one of those in years, dude. I just got to find you. Where are you? I'll just where are you, man? I gotta find you. As soon as I can find your when was the last time I emailed you? I mean DM'd you. Can't be that long ago. I get a lot of DMs. Sorry, everybody. I have this. I mean, I know I DM'd you not too long ago, bud. Where are you? I'll get you. I'll find you. Anyway, just look at you. Lord. There you are. There you are, sir. I know. Man, it's been forever since you and I've talked on there. And I should send you links all the time. Well, put it to you like this, dude. It's up to you. You've got a link now. And if you feel like dropping by, I would love to have you. I would love to have you express yourself about and then I could I'll tell you, but like I say, yeah, it's been a while, but I sent you a link. But anyway, like I said, we'll also talk about yes, Decepticon. I do what they're going to do to Adam Warlock. Holy crap, that's going to be bad. But just the nerve of these jackasses. Not nerve. They don't. It's not even nerve. They can, it doesn't take any nerve on their part. I'm not even going to give them that kind of credit. Okay, they don't respect this character. They don't certainly have no love for it because they didn't grow up reading the exploits of this character. This was just a chance for these idiots, these morons, to inject their agenda. In this case, their Hollywood identity politics, stupid ass Ryan Coogler, stupid ass agenda, and just hijack Namor for that. This is a character that was sacrificed on the altar of agenda. And not just, changing his, changing him from Atlantis to what they changed him to, not just an ethnicity as well. Also, the feminist agenda of having him absolutely get his ass whooped by a young girl. Yes, enhanced powers. I don't care. I don't care that she pulled some kind of trick on him with dehydrating him. He's supposed to be Namor, okay? So you made these changes to him aesthetically and even to his origins. I'm not going to get into how bad the origin is. The origin in this movie is so freaking stupid. I'm not even going there. Blood pressure, right? But you put this crap, and hey, we got our good buddy Lord Thoth. Hey, man.
Hey there, Clobby. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Apollo Miss Minion. Good to see you.
Hey.
Welcome, buddy. Do you have anything you'd like to say about this? What's about the character in general? Anything you want, man. You got the floor, because I know you don't have a lot of time tonight.
I hate to interrupt your show, but this is a topic that's really near and dear to my heart.
Go for it, man. I'm glad you're here. You're not interrupting at all. You're always welcome, brother.
You can hear me okay? New headset, so I'm still breaking it in. So.
I mean, it's a little fuzzy, but I'm hearing you. If you got anything, make any adjustments, but you're fine. I think everyone's okay with it. Everyone hearing it all right? Say something again.
Hey, how's it going?
I can hear you. Anybody want to give us a sound check and see how you think that is out there? In the meantime, just keep going. If they say anything, we'll let you know.
This character is a classic Silver Age anti-hero from the Marvel Universe. They should have known better than to try to change it into their own agenda to make him more apt for the common people out there. And it's a terrible change. If they were going to do this the original way... Oh, is my mic bad?
Mic is a little bit off. It's like a little fuzzy, like a little scratchy.
How's that? Any better?
About the same. It might be something in the StreamYard thing either. I don't know. So.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm still breaking in the new mic, so.
Do what you got to do, man. We're good. Go for it. So I want to hear what you have to say about this, because I know you love the character as much as a lot of us do.
Oh, Chris is saying drop the game. Let me see here, just a minute.
Okay.
Is that any better?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit better.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think that's a little better. Yeah.
Even better?
Yeah, pretty good.
Oh, okay.
A little bit better, I think, anyway. Go for it, man.
Yeah. Chris is saying perfect, so that's good.
Thank you.
Much better.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. You're the man. But
I got to set up the balance in this new headset that I got. Okay. So
gotcha.
All I'll say is that this is a great character. So this isn't a good guy. This isn't a bad guy. No. This is someone that cares about himself and his nation. And when you're that kind of a powerful character that wants to spread his own agenda throughout the world, that's the kind of character we want. When they start changing it from being an Atlantean / Middle Eastern Greek kind of background, because we know where he's from. The Atlantean theory is more so from the Pacific East than the Pacific South, which is what they changed him into Aztecs, Mayan, whatever they want to call it. I understand that they want to bring in new ethnic characters. They want to have a diverse and inclusive audience. That's really cool, and I appreciate that. I have a mixed marriage, so I understand the bringing in new cultures and new ideas. But to change a classic character who's been in comics for 50 years, who has gone...
years.
Yeah,
83.
Well, if you go back to Golden Age, Namor, absolutely.
I'm going for all of it. 83 freaking years, man. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go way back. You're right. You're absolutely right. We're talking like first mutant in the universe, the first really. Yeah.
Yep.
It's such an amazing character. He's got a huge backstory, and this is a comic character that's actually really popular with the older comic book fans, because don't forget that we kind of grew up on him. Fantastic Four, classic Fantastic Four, Namor was there. The Invaders, Captain America, original Human Torch, not Johnny Storm, original Human Torch, Namor. We've got that same character who's gone from being part of the Invaders, Defenders, Fantastic Four, Eternals, Inhumans, X-Men, into modern times. He has got a very, very large backstory. When you start changing stuff And they're not subtle about it. This wasn't a subtle change. This was a fundamental change to the very history, the very being of that character. They changed him to be a completely different character. This is no longer Namor, King of Atlantis. This is Namor, Kublai Khan, whatever they wanted to call him. And
yeah.
And that's not the Namor that we grew up with, Clobby. And
No.
so if you're going to change that, you might as well change Spider-Man and make him Miles Morales. You might as well change Iron Man and make him Riri Williams. You might as well.
Yeah.
So let's forget about the past. Let's forget about the mountains that these little tiny characters have tread on and create it for this new diverse audience, which is not watching your show, which is not buying your comic books, which is obvious. But I think they really need to go back to the ground floor. They need to get people who know these comics, who love these comics, who've loved these characters, and reimagine them for a new universe. The original creators of Iron Man, Avengers, the first 10 years of this 20-plus year run of Marvel Comics, they got it right. Well, they got it pretty good. They didn't get it right. There's a lot of issues I have with them, but that's because I'm a gold and silver, Bronze Age comic book fanatic. But for most people, the lay people, they know Captain America as a guy who's got the shield, who survived World War II in ice, and came to be really the mountain, the granite of the Avengers in the new era, when I'm talking 60s, right? So I just use that as an example. The Submariner is one of those characters. He's an original Golden Age Marvel superhero / supervillain / whatever he was in the latest comic. He had his own series. You got to get back to those origins. This didn't do this. And what they did to Black Panther in this movie was a travesty. This little killing him off with the virus and having 5 minutes of, oh, we're so sad he died. It was horrible. That was not the Black Panther, who I have literally dozens of his comic books downstairs. I loved that character, and I'm white. I don't care what color he was. That was a cool character. It's just like all these other characters that they're changing. And I know I'm going on a bit of a rant, and I apologize to the people in the chat. But when they go and they fundamentally change a fabric of the lattice work that is Marvel Comics, this character is like Doctor Doom. This character is like Galactus, the Silver Surfer. This character is like Kang. And all of those great villains, Immortus, like those great villains from the 60s that were really the foil that the Avengers became so popular. Magneto is always a villain. He will always be that great villain that challenged Professor X and the X-Men. When you fundamentally change him, you say, well, we're going to make them gay, or we're going to make them black, or we're going to make... No, that's fine. There are great characters that follow that same theme that you can bring into the comics, but when they fundamentally change a character to be nothing like the character in the comic books, you change everything around them. It's a ripple effect. You throw a brick into a pond, and what happens? There's a ripple effect. What happens under the surface? There's a lot of chaos and anguish and pain from all the life forms that live under that surface. And that's what's going on here. The reason why you see all of these fanatical fans that love these comics fleeing from these characters, not going back and supporting your movies. Why? Because you were changing these characters so fundamentally that they are wrong. They're not the same characters. And when you can't tell a good story, when you can't sit down and write a 4-act movie that has a beginning, an end, and a great middle that lasts for less than 2 hours, you have a real problem. And when you are 20 years old and trying to write these stories, you don't have the life experience to write these stories. You need to have some life experience You need to go to war. You need to be a soldier. You need to be a first responder. You need to work as a plumber or a technician or an electrician. You need to have some life experience where you've learned from 20 years of hard knocks, whether it's in your family, whether it is death and life and living and agony and pain and going check to check and all of that stuff. When we look back at Kirby, we look at, I'm not going to start quoting names, but when you look at the classic writers of all of these comic books from 40s to now, and you see the life experience they had, that is why they told such amazing stories. And when you do stuff where you fundamentally change those stories, you ruin it. Everything that's come out in the last 5 years, whether it's Marvel Comics, whether it's Star Wars, Star Trek, everything else, there's a reason why it's failed. It's because those writers are inept. They're terrible. They have no life experience. You need to go back and get 50, 60, and 70-year-old people to come in there and and control your writing rooms and say, you're an idiot. This is what we need to write about because that's real life. And if you're 20 years old, you can't write about real life. And that's really what we saw in that woke Never Forever movie that we just watched.
So true. So well said, dude. By the way, hello there, Brian Christgau and Keely Chow. Roll Tide. Good to see you. Absolutely. So well said, dude. These people who write this crap now, like, as again, they don't have, like you just said, they have no real life experience to speak of. They don't understand. They don't live in the real world. They live in the Hollywood bubble anyway. And they've got their little agendas to push. They don't, none of them, I guarantee you, Ryan Coogler, first of all, have you ever seen him talk? He's imbecile. He can't speak. He's an idiot. And people say he's so brilliant. He hasn't done any, I've seen three of his movies now. And I thought Creed was just sort of okay. The first one, I never watched the other one. It was all right. I didn't like the first Black Panther. I talked about that earlier. I don't think it's very good. And I think this is even worse. But somehow he gets all this praise just because it's. I better not say what I think is praise.
We know why he got praise.
We know why. Yeah, and he's an idiot. He's an absolute, and he does. I'll say this: he doesn't even. If you notice this movie, it wasn't. I hated Love and Blunder. It was horrible. That was jokety joke. This didn't have that. It was kind of sans some of that Marvel crap that's become annoying. Like just all these movies with nothing but jokety McJokeness all over the place. It didn't have a lot of that, but instead it was just dripping with everything to do with agenda, and it just you're watching going. It's a sermon, the whole thing, and the problem with the film itself is it starts out as the worst kind of downer you could ever have. You started a Marvel movie that's ostensibly a superhero film with a funeral. It's tough to bounce back from that. Even I don't care how many hours you're going to put us through. And you just kill the character off screen and you come in there with a downer funeral. And then you give us an 83-year-old classic character who's never even had a shot at a movie screen before. And look what you do to him. Look what you do to this legendary character. You trash everything about the origins beyond idiotic. Hey there, Retro Blasting, my good friend. Good to see you there, buddy.
Hey, Retro. Great to see you. I agree with the sentiments. We were talking about Spielberg and Lucas. Don't forget the life experience they had before that. Don't forget their family experience that they had before that. These are gentlemen from the 60s and 70s that don't forget the decades they went through in the 50s and 60s to get where they did as filmmakers in the 70s. There was a lot of stuff that happened, especially to the United States and the rest of the world, that happened in the 60s.
I agree with Brian. I do believe it was always the plan to make Shuri Black Panther.
Yes, yeah.
If Chadwick, rest of his soul, had survived, he would have been in the movie, but they would have found a way to either kill the character off anyway or replace him. That's what they were going to do anyway. That's Feige for you there. So, but he still would have been in it though if he'd been with us. So yeah, and again, you talked about the life experience of these characters, and these creators. Jack Kirby Now, Bill Everett, of course, created the Submariner. Jack Kirby created the Black Panther, and many others. Jack Kirby, was a war veteran, a war hero, and again, I always say it, but I'll always recommend it till everyone gets to see it. Go watch the documentary Kirby at War, and it talks about how his war experience. It talks about his war experiences, and then it later chronicles how his war experiences affected his art and his storytelling and his creative process. And it's brilliant. It's a great documentary. It's very disturbing, but very brilliant. And yes, but these people who created all these characters that we've grown up loving lived in tough times. Not all of them were in the war. Some of them were, but even the ones that weren't lived in the Depression. And again, they just lived in the toughest of times. And even though some of these guys got into the comic book and cartooning business very early at very young ages, they didn't live in the kind of world that people their age at that age now live in. I mean, that was almost 100 years ago in some cases. Some of these guys who created these characters, they lived it was just tight. Life was tough, and they lived life as you talked about, and their storytelling was affected by it. Now these kids, and by the way, it's not all their fault that they live in this wonderful, luxurious world. I mean, it was given to them after all, but it is indicative of the kind of quote unquote stories they tell. They don't have any of that life experience to draw on that you're talking about. All they know is agenda and what they've been proselytized and brainwashed into believing, and that is what they regurgitate out onto the big screen.
That's programming, right? That's yes. Really what we've seen here. I think I really can't blame the writers, the producers, and the directors of the latest batch of crap that's coming out of there. Because one, obviously, we know that the corporation is controlling a lot of things. The worst thing that could ever happen to the Marvel properties is to be bought by Disney. Same for Star Wars. We know what they've done with it. We know what they were going to do with it. It's not shocking to see what we've had come out in the last 10 years. I think that really I kind of give them a pass because they really don't understand the situation like I've grown up with, what you've grown up with, Clobby, why a lot of our listeners have grown up with. And, in the 70s, growing up in the 70s and 80s, it was tough. There was no computers. There was no phones that we could just Google everything. There was waiting on the magazines that come in, the comic books every week. Wednesday was the best day of the week. And when we got... when we got Star Wars in 77, and I have a soft spot for BSG, Battlestar Galactica in 78, and Close Encounters, and the motion picture. I know that a lot of us classic fans love Star Trek the motion picture because we grew up with TOS in the 60s, and there's a lot of stuff too, whether it's The Prisoner, Blake Seven, Doctor Who, oh man, I could go on and on and on by the great stuff that we got to see. And that's just television shows. We're not talking about books or novels or anything else that came up. And I'm not going to go into that right now because we could go on for hours. But I think we got to see really the golden age of creativity and uniqueness. And the 80s, in my opinion, I mean the tail end of the 70s too, but the 80s, in my opinion, were the greatest creative outlet of science fiction, fantasy, superheroes of all time. And now the 70s were great. The 60s were outstanding, and that coming from a Legion of Superheroes fan. And that's why when they go back and they change such a great character with such great history and background, and he's flawed. He's a perfect foil for the Black Panther. When I'm talking Black Panther, I mean T'Challa. T'Challa will be the only Black Panther ever. Not Shuri, not any of the other crap that they're going to come up with. That's right.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you, Retro Blasting, for that. And he says, exactly, Spielberg and Lucas were neither veterans or refugees or immigrants. And they are the current generation of filmmakers' biggest inspirations. Why Kevin Smith is a reference machine. Exhibit A. And yes,
Yes.
I know what you were saying, Michael. Colonizer, yeah, he was not saying that. He was not saying that. Yeah, he was not saying that Kevin Smith is great because no, not at all. He knows what Kevin Smith is. Trust me. No, but go ahead, sir. Go ahead, man. I just want to clear that up.
No, that's excellent. You know what? I absolutely love Retro Blasting being in the chat because he's unbelievable. Everybody, if you have not subscribed to him, you need to go and subscribe to that channel right now. I watched all of your videos, man. Outstanding work.
I do too. The best
and
stuff out
and
there.
I think we're on the same page here because I'm pretty sure we're on the same generation, and that's really the thing is that they really don't understand our generation. They think that we should just go away. They hate us. We're either ratsies or racist or whatever. And no, it's the farthest of the truth. I think that we love what we love. We love our characters. And what they showed me in that last movie was I will never spend another cent on a Marvel Universe movie ever again. I've already passed that with Star Wars, by the way. I was past that with the very first movie that was a travesty in this supposedly post-Jedi Return of the Jedi movie. I will never spend another cent on Star Wars ever again. And there's a reason for that. It's because I went to in 1977. I went to Star Wars, not A New Hope, Star Wars, at the drive-in theater opening weekend in 1977, and that changed my life. And I'm a Star Trek fan, so when you go and you do what you did to my characters, my Luke, my Han, my Leia, my Chewie, my R2, my C-3PO, what you did to them is just, it's unforgivable. So, and what they've done to this reboot with Kirk, Spock, McCoy, the Discovery and stuff is just a travesty. So now what they're doing is now I'm seeing this with my Marvel Universe characters. Now I see Namor completely not Namor. That's Namor. So when I look at that movie, I see one of my favorite all-time anti-heroes is not in that movie. That's not him. And they could have really made that a really cool anti-hero. The Black Adam movie is head and shoulders 10 times better than what they did with Namor. And I kind of compare them in a lot of ways. Yeah. They're kind of similar in a lot of ways. They're that dark anti-hero with incredible power who's from a different time, from a different nation. And I think that The Rock did a much better job. I'm not saying he did a perfect job, but he did a much better job than what I just saw with Namor.
Well, it's better than this garbage. I mean, I thought it was an average movie at best, but it was better than this trash. Yeah, I'm absolutely with you. And Retro Blasting says, I argue Spielberg and Lucas are overrated in retrospect and not as great as we've made them out to be. Take the glasses off and take them off the pedestals and reassess their track records. Oh, absolutely. Look, I love a couple of their early works. And I can tell you that. Think about that is, Michael, is, that's not an isolated incident. There are a lot of people whose work, when I look at their earlier body of work that I just love, that when I look at much of their later work, I don't like as much or I even dislike. And then I go back and evaluate it as a whole and go, wow, that's one of my favorites, just fill in the blank, creator or whatever. And yet, when I think about it, most of their stuff I don't like. Only their early stuff that I like so much that makes me think of them as a giant. And then I'm not going to name the comic artist now that I'm thinking of most because he's just passed recently, but this year. But when I look at the body of his work, when I look at the body of his work, he's one of the masters. He's one of the gigantics of the industry, of the comics industry, and yet it was only a certain window there that I thought he was great. To me, it's the same thing with those guys. Obviously, they gave us Jaws and Star Wars and Indiana Jones and things
Indiana
like
Jones.
that.
Yep, just
and then after that, it dries up pretty good. So I'll still laud them for that. But on balance, those were they caught a lot of lightning in a few bottles here and there, and for the most part, they're a couple of damn hacks, in my opinion.
And Colonizer Jeebus, I'm with you, man. I agree with you. Retroblasting, that's a really good point. Like, that's why I love your chat, Clobby. It's the best chat in YouTube because we have such amazing people, man. And when I'm going back and reading the comments here, and I just, it's funny because this kind of a thing really, it brings us all together. As much as they hate that we're giving them pushback on a lot of this stuff, and there's a reason why you go from $1 billion movie to maybe making 600 million, and I understand why it would make so much, but when you go down 50%, that's a huge flag, and there's a reason for that. It's because word of mouth is really getting out there. When you go to Top Gun Maverick and you make a $1.5 billion on a movie, there's a reason. It's because we miss the good old-fashioned cowboy movie. How can I put it another way? It's really, it's very much it's a seat of your pants, alpha male going and doing what he has to do. I don't care what color he is. I don't care what nationality, religion, because that should never come into a movie. I don't care. Blade, the first Blade, is one of my absolute all-time favorite superhero movies because they were so true to that character. I will plop that in my Blu-ray player every single time I can. Every year I watch that movie because that opening scene is just, it's so classic. Werewolf by Night, Moon Knight, Blade, Dracula, 70s dark Marvel comic books. I love it. And that's really what they've lost here, I think, really. You could have done so much with Namor in a Black Panther movie, and yet you have no cameos, so you have a funeral for an Avenger.
No Avengers there.
And no Avengers there. That is the absolute travesty of that movie. No, right?
Not even the guy who lived there at one point.
Now, as a soldier, as someone who has been wounded in the line of duty, has almost died in the line of duty, someone who has dangles on his chest, that is proud to go to Memorial Day, Veterans Day, Remembrance Day, someone who is there for the people who's bled for his country, blood, sweat, and tears. There is no way in heck I would ever miss a funeral for somebody that I have bled for in the line of duty, someone who is my brother or sister at arms, and miss their funeral. I don't care what country is stopping me. I don't care if you're Russian, Chinese, Finnish, Venezuelan, whatever. It doesn't matter. If we've worked together, if we've been soldiers together, if we fought the good fight, there's no way you're keeping me from that funeral. And who was at that funeral? I didn't see Thor Odin's son. I didn't see Steve Rogers. I don't care how old he is. I didn't see any of his teammates. None of them. And
some kind of presence of the Avengers. You didn't even do it in anything.
You didn't even have Winter Soldier.
Not even like just the Quinjet flying with the other ships and whatever. Nothing.
Nothing. And so
because they don't care.
And I know why they did it. I understand the price tags of these actors. F it. If you want to bring me to your movie, you do it. You spend the $2 million and you get Hawkeye there. I don't effing care. You get
Winter Soldier, you get Sam.
You get Puig there, who's supposedly the legacy of Natasha, right? You get whoever it is that you served with. You know that he was, and Winter Soldier is probably, arguably one of the best Marvel superhero movies. We can have that. Yeah, we can have that debate. I love it. I think that it's great. I think that even out of all of those veterans that was there, you can find at least 2, maybe 3 that can show up for your funeral, for your king. I thought that was the worst insult to veterans everywhere. This guy was a soldier.
It was
He was
disgusting.
he was part of the Infinity War. He was there to sacrifice himself for your country. And what do? You make it a
Awful.
joke. You make it a virus. So he died from what? A cough? Like, come on.
So disgusting. To Donnie Pearson, good to see you. And yes, I did see that. It's a damn shame. The last member of the cast of the Hogan's Heroes
Yep.
passed. Robert Clary, man, 96
Oh
years old.
yeah.
He was.
Corporal
LeBeau, was he LeBeau?
Yeah, LeBeau, he was the French guy. Oh, that show, man. I have such a soft spot for that.
I love that show. I love Hogan's Heroes.
One of the few shows my father and I used to watch was Hogan's Heroes, and
Right.
oh, that actually makes me sad.
Yeah, he's the last one too. I mean, a lot of those. Not to bring, well, we're talking about Black Panther, so of course we're talking about a downer. That movie's a downer. A lot of, when you watch a lot of your favorite shows from the '60s or whatever,
Yeah.
you go, man, you're sitting there and you just kind of, oh, this episode you're watching, you have a good time. Sometimes if you're just it's just a human thing. It's not so much morbid. It's kind of a human thing. You go, it might hit you. Oh God, almost everybody in this show is gone. That does hit me sometimes. I know it's morbid. I don't mean for it to happen. I still love the show. I'm like, it'll kind of bum me out once. You get over it. You have to get past that kind of thing. But still, you watch that show. It was so much fun, so enjoyable. You go, geez, that person's not here anymore. It sucks.
Yeah.
It happens to me sometimes, I must admit. So yeah. R.I.P. LeBeau.
R.I.P. Yeah. And Eric K, yeah, I guess I had to drop the finish because my godchild is the son of a naval officer from Finland, and we're really close, and we served together. And I'm Canadian and he's Finnish, and everything going on right now in Western Europe and the situation there, and he's in a rough spot right now. So yeah. Thanks, Eric K, for pointing that out. That's right. I have to always drop my Finnish family that it's over there, and my heart's with them, and Finnish and Polish too, by the way, and everything going on with what happened today. So I don't want to bring the chat down more than it is already, but yeah.
I understand.
Is there anything positive you want to talk about?
Well, just how about what a great character Namor is, since it's a Namor show. I mean, this is he's just. It's tough. I'll put it to you like this. I am someone who loves. Hey, Hungry Boy. Good to see you there, brother.
Hey, and Stephen M. Yeah.
Stephen M. What's up, Kella? I'm someone that usually I love superheroes and heroes in general so much as someone, as a person, as a cornball, a real life cornball who believes in all that stuff and is inspired by those sorts of things. I love them. And traditionally, villains are there to make the heroes look good. So traditionally, I don't like bad guys. I mean, in other words, Dr. Doom, you don't like him for being the evil he does. You don't like Darth Vader, but you love them as characters. They're great characters, and they're necessary characters. But I gravitate towards being the bigger fan of superheroes or heroes in general, other heroic fiction. I love heroic fiction. And therefore, if a character's that middle ground type of guy, like the quote unquote, the anti-hero, the asshole that's kind of that, he's not evil, but he could be a total dickwad, and he does, he fights the superheroes a la Namor, or even other anti. I always surprised myself how much I do like some characters like that. For example, I'll name you a few other than Namor. Of course, you've got a guy like Han Solo, something of an anti-hero. Care Avon, played by Paul Darrows, one of the top 3 all-time greatest characters in all of television.
He would be in my top 3
Paul
too,
Darrows,
man.
Brilliant. Avon, I shouldn't, knowing what I know of myself, I shouldn't. All right, and what I'm saying is, and yes, he's great. What I'm saying is, knowing me, I shouldn't love that. I shouldn't love that character so much, but I do. I shouldn't love Namor so much, but I do. I shouldn't love the characters who are total jerks, and yet, but I still do love them, even though I'll still love the Boy Scouts, like Superman. The badasses and the Boy Scouts, if they're a great character, they're a great character. And Namor, I love him because, yes, he's an anti-hero, but there's a nobility to him. And he's just a very complicated, just brilliantly conceived character by Bill Everett, and then later by other writers who worked on him. Never was fond of that mutant crap that was retconned into him later. Or, but that started back in the 60s. That was actually Kirby did it. Kirby did it. It's Kirby's fault. So I'm fine. I'm fine with Kirby doing that, but sorry. But anyway, but it was Kirby, so. But I love this character, and to see him treated like this is disgusting. But just to talk a little bit, but to give a little positive spin to what we're talking about tonight, do you have any standout moments or favorite bits of Namor that you love, that as a fan, that kind of anything from his history that sort of, I guess, exemplifies why you love the character?
Oh my God. Where to start? Well, I have the Marvel Masterpieces issue where he originally fights with the original Human Torch. That's my seminary one. I don't have the original appearance because, wow, that's
Golden Age comics expensive.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
24, but that's expensive.
But I have the Marvel Masterpieces version of it.
Yeah,
downstairs, and I've got it at a 9.2. So
Nice.
yeah, it's I got that as a kid, and I think that really what turned me on to following this journey with Namor and his story. I've got most of his Silver Age appearances, all of his series, the Namor series that was in the 60s, and I love that stuff, but a lot of that stuff was kind of cool. I mean, his fight with Tiger Shark, Atuma, finding out about his mother, that kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff is really cool because I grew up as a single parent family, and so his whole journey of discovering about his mother and how she was the princess / queen of Atlantis, depending on what you look at, what comics you look at, but I really find that his seminal roles were really in the Fantastic Four issues, and I know you're gonna laugh at this, but when you talk about that whole triangle he had with Reed Richards and Sue Storm and the rest of the family hating him, that whole dichotomy he had with the Human Torch, you've got the guy who's the flame and the heat, and the guy who's the super strong water guy. We know about the story where he was found in the trash in an alleyway by the Human Torch, who burned off the garbage off him, and he was Namor the Submariner. And I love that whole kind of backstory with the Fantastic Four, and we love the Fantastic Four. The first couple, I think it was it's right up here in front of me. Issue 4 is just one of the greatest comics of all time. It's got to be in my top 25 comics of all time. Yeah.
First time I ever saw him.
Yep. And you really can't beat that story, because it's funny. I'm looking at that cover, and all I can think of is so Lady Thoth. I showed her this cover the other day, and because we were actually talking about Namor. Funny enough, because she wanted to go to the movie, and I went, okay, we'll go. And then afterwards, she looked at me the whole way, and I was all like upset and angry, and I was quiet. And she's like, "You're never quiet." And I'm like, "I don't want to talk about it." So it really brought me back to Namor. And my whole part of the issue why I had so much of a problem with the movie was Namor. And then seeing this cover, I'm like, do you know that she used to have this little love triangle with Reed Richards? And she's like, no. And I'm like, yeah. So Sue Storm actually liked Namor better than Reed Richards. And she's like, no. And I'm like, yeah. Like, she wanted to go to his underwater. And of course I was teasing her. Yeah. But that whole storyline was kind of fun. But let's not forget, this is the 60s, right? So yes. It was a completely different era, and I just love that part of the story. I love that part of the history, because you know what? It really reflects on real life if we think about it, because guys, they look at other girls, even though they have their true loves that are with them for the rest of their lives, but they'll kind of eye other girls. And you know what? The women are the same way. It's that the fish that got away, and in this case it was Namor. So yeah, I love the Fantastic Four issues. I love the Defenders. Absolutely, the original Defenders is probably
Oh yeah.
in my top 5 best series of all time, and I'm talking like probably the first 10 issues of the Defenders. You had
Yes.
some really great characters there, and it was just so
I
much
love that when it
fun.
was with the Defenders.
Hulk,
Yeah.
Silver Surfer, and Namor, and guess who? The real Doctor Strange, not this
Real deal.
Wanda
And
version of
Nighthawk.
Doctor. Yeah. And Nighthawk, and not the
No.
Supreme. Oh shoot! Why am I brain dead all of a sudden? The Sinister Supreme, who became the Squadron Supreme. But yeah,
Oh yeah,
and,
Squadron Sinister. Yeah. Oh,
yeah, the Squadron Sinister, right? Remember those from the Avengers and
Sure.
the original Contest of Champions kind of stuff, right? So
Yes.
yeah, so I can go on and on about my favorite appearances, but I think I've pretty much summed it up on the best ones. But what do you think, Clobby? What are your favorites?
Well, obviously, this was the first comic I ever saw with him in it. I think one of my favorites, though, was one of the ones that really also just blew me away. Was this? So I'm just going to link. I'm just going to just share, do a screen share on it from. It was from a Hulk. It was I think it was from a Tales to Astonish issue, if I remember right, or it was oh god, I can't remember the issue. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can see there when the I've never forget this issue right here. When you can see that art from it right there. It was from a Tales to Astonish. It was a reprint in the well, if you see here the full screen layout.
Oh, Hulk! You know what? Some of the best stories were the two of them going at it.
When he fought the Hulk, with John Severnard, I do believe. Was it Hulk 118? Thank you, D-Bud. I knew he would get it.
Avon lives, D-Bud.
Hulk 118. Devon lives indeed. This issue right here was reprinted in one of those books I was talking about earlier, that Origins of Marvel Comics that I got back in the early 70s. That I just wore that. I still have my copies of that and Sons of Origins of Marvel Comics. But this was in Origins of Marvel Comics. The first part they put like they printed like FF number 1, then they put FF number 4 or something like that, and they put different things, and then they put this one in there into the Hulk one, the Hulk part of this book, and it's just Trimpe inked by Severin. This battle, dude, it's just extraordinary. One of the best drawn subby battles. But honestly, though, I'll show you one that might surprise you. One of my favorite stories that involved the Submariner. Let's see here.
But do you see who's in the background of that picture with Subby and Hulk there? That blue-skinned, beautiful woman?
Yeah, Dorma?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's another thing too that you wouldn't get in comic movies nowadays, eh? The woman who's the princess that you're trying to rescue, right? Because all the Disney princesses now have to be the men now.
Well, of course, they are the princesses now.
Yeah.
Did you ever read this gem right here? I used to love this book by Kurt Busiek called Untold Tales of Spider-Man from the mid-90s. There's remember this one?
Yeah.
This was, and again, I have to apologize to Hungry Boy because he can't stand the artist on this, Mike Allred. Yeah. I'm sorry. Allred did a nice job on this one. I apologize to you profusely, Hungry Boy. Hungry for some adamant babes, as he says. However, I love this comic. This is, of course, like it's called a gear book but it was an annual, whatever. Anyway, the plot was this again, a lot of these issues of Untold Tales took place in between older stories during the Ditko era, early on and stuff. And this was back with Johnny. I always loved the relationship between Johnny Storm and Spider-Man. We've talked about that a lot, even on Nick's show, right? Well,
Absolutely. That's probably the best team up that I love in the Marvel Universe.
Friendship. Yeah, I love that
Yep.
friendship.
Yep.
Anyway, they were adversaries a lot, and Spider-Man. No, Human Torch pisses off Spider-Man for something. Some reason to forget. So Spidey wants revenge. He goes and decides, he goes and he sees that Reed and Sue are having a tiff. This is when they were dating. They weren't married. And Sue's pissed off in a way he always used to ignore her or whatever. And so Spidey asks her out on a date just to piss off the Torch. And she decides to piss off Reed and agrees to it. So they go out on the date. And Torch says, "Oh, yeah, I'll fix your ass." He goes and finds Namor and says, "Spider-Man's kidnapped Sue." That's all you need to know about the issue. It was, and from there, wackiness ensues, and it's hilarious.
I can't. You couldn't ask for a better issue. You've got Peter Parker, the real Spider-Man. You've got the Human Torch, Johnny Storm. You've got Namor, Sue Storm, and just the cover really kind of sums it up. Well,
Hilarious.
I will tell you a little secret. I have not read this issue, but I will tell you what. I am going to find this issue and I'm going to read it.
I think you might enjoy it. Again, I didn't really spoil it that much, just to give you the basic premise. So,
which already made me laugh.
I just love this. I love this. Did you ever read the series at all? I loved it. I mean, it was the first time someone had done something like that, where each story took place in between issues of Ditko Spidey. And we're about like 19, 20 something. I can't remember how many issues he did.
So it was late 90s, but I don't recognize it. Yeah.
It was in the mid 90s, and it was done as a dollar book. Every book was really expensive. It was done as a 99-cent book, as a cheaper book for Marvel to distribute, like to try to, and it was Kurt Busiek, who at the time I was a huge fan of his because of his brilliant Astro City and Marvels and stuff. And it's fun. And again, each issue, sure, you have to suspend a little bit when you say this story is taking place between Spider-Man number 1 and number 3 or whatever it is in between this saga or that, because it doesn't match up in terms of looking exactly like the era or the art of the time. But if you just go with that, it's so much fun. And sometimes some stories of a whole issue will take place between different panels of, in other words, different things going on. And like, say, for example, this story takes place between page 9 and page 16, or page 9 and 10 of Spider-Man number 3 or 4 or whatever. In other words, whatever gap there, this happened and stuff. Untold Tales of Spider-Man. I just really love this series, and this was the anime. This was that came out like a year after the series was coming out. It was the annual, for lack of a better term, but it was like called a yearbook or something.
If you say you love it, I need to watch it. I need to read it. It's been a while
since I've read this one, so but that was a fun one. Involved Subby. Naturally, when it comes to Submariner, it may not get better than this right here. One of the greatest comics of all time, in my opinion. This one exemplifies all the good of Submariner, because it's easily, look, he was a prick who hung around with Dr. Doom. Let's face it. He fought with the good guys in World War II. And even, when it comes down to it, he's not evil, unlike this idiot Notmore in the movie who's going to murder a little child.
Right?
So he's not evil in that respect. As I spoke earlier about this one, I'm sure you remember it, the nobility of Daredevil, the nobility of Namor and Daredevil, and this so much so that he lets his feud with the surface world, he puts it on pause to respect his fallen foe that had no shot at standing up to him whatsoever.
I have this issue.
Nice.
I actually own a lot of the Daredevil issues because I love Daredevil, and that's a whole other topic, actually. But I will tell you this. My Daredevil number 7 is probably a 2.0. The cover is a little bit shredded, but it's a comic I had as a kid. And yeah, it's a great issue, man. You picked a perfect issue. One of the greats.
One of the greats. That's just a couple of the ones. Like I said, Subby's been in a lot of stuff. Like you, I loved when he was in Defenders. I did love a lot of Invaders, but not so much because they had a lot of the art by Frank Robbins. I wasn't all that huge, hugely in love with or anything. But he's been a lot of great comics, and the point is he's one of the greatest, and it's been mistreated by Hollywood, insulted by it, really.
And I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. If you do a little bit of research, it doesn't take that much research, really. You look
No.
at these characters and you go, okay, how much of a following do they have? And how much of an impact is this going to have on your predetermined audience? You know that the audience for these characters is huge. We've saw that. They made billion-dollar movies out of Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, B-level characters at best. They made Thor. They made movies that made billions of dollars out of B-level characters. So you want to stay true to those characters. Did they not think that the Submariner is going to be one of those? Let's not forget, there's a reason why they haven't been successful at a Fantastic Four movie. Why? Because one, prime villain. If you're going to do Doom, you need to do Doom right. And all of this stuff I've been seeing in the movies that are coming up, that are going to be soon, where they're flashing these little secret little videos and stuff of Doom and how he's going to look, they need to do Doom and right. He has to be Latvian, he has to be white, he has to be a bad guy, he has to be brilliant. That's what you have to do.
Not a chance. Not a chance in hell.
Right? And that's a problem because all of us, millions of fans of the Fantastic Four, when I say millions, I am not being facetious. I'm not blowing this up in numbers. There are millions of us that are fans of the Fantastic Four. We grew up in the 60s and 70s. We love the Fantastic Four. You need to have the Fantastic Four be similar to the comic books. Absolutely make changes. But don't make changes to the Prime Four. Doctor Doom, Submariner, Silver Surfer. You can play with the Silver Surfer a bit. I don't care what color he is because he's the Silver Surfer. I thought that the Silver Surfer was pretty good in the last couple of movies we got. Galactus. You've got it. So all of these, and whether or not you do Kang, whatever, with the Avengers, with Fantastic Four, whether or not you do Paste Pot Pete, I don't really care about that stuff, right? I just care about the Prime members and your Prime villains. They need to stay true to the comic book origins, or else you're losing millions of your fans. And that's what they did with Namor in this BP movie.
It's weird because you talk about that, when you think about whether the MCU / MCU, when it was the MCU, as a comic book geek, no, I can't say they 100% got every character right, but they were way close. In other words, their portrayal of Iron Man, is he 100% like the comics? No, but he's very close, and they did their own thing with him, and they didn't destroy or disrespect the character. You get Robert Downey Jr. You can't mistake him for something else. You can't look at him and go, well, if you know comics, he's anything other than Iron Man. Same thing. Now you could look at Hawkeye, not really the comic version, but for the most part, Captain America, Thor.
Yep.
Thor, if you really know the comic, he looks the part. He doesn't talk like Thor, doesn't act like Thor, but he's still fairly close. Not as close as Iron Man, not as close as Cap, but he's there. The couple of the Spider-Man iterations at least act like Spider-Man, and for the most part, give or take, look like Spider-Man. You can go down the line in these MCU movies. For the most part, sure, there are differences, but there's no mistaking that who these characters are based upon.
Even Natasha, and I own a ton of her comics. I absolutely love that character. I love the connections they had, World War II with Cap, Fury, original Nick Fury, Logan. There's some really cool stuff that's come out in the 90s that had them connected back in World War II and stuff, and that's pretty cool. You can stay relatively true to those characters, and I think they did a pretty good job with that. Anyway, keep going. I'm sorry I'm interrupting.
That's all right. My basic example is with all of those, they're all close enough for comics fans that if you do a good movie with them, you'll excuse a lot. Vision. I'm one of the few that actually really likes Age of Ultron. Vision, is he 100%? No, but he's pretty close. Close enough that I got really excited. I'm actually seeing Vision in movies. I can't believe it because I love the character.
And by the way, unbelievable casting. I absolutely love the Vision casting.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Scarlet Witch, 100, little bit not a little bit lesser close to the comic, but she's not to the point where it's embarrassing. Not great.
Pre the TV show, she's not bad.
Yeah, I hate the TV show. But as far as is she as close as they did Iron Man or Cap or Vision? No, but she's to an acceptable level. I'm rating this like on sort of a scale.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Hawkeye, not really much like the comic version of all. The actor's good enough to make me excuse it, but not whatever. The Hulk, forgetting about which guy plays Bruce Banner. The Hulk is like the Hulk. He's the Hulk from the comics. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay. It's way up there as far as being accurate in terms of enough for a comics fan to accept a good movie with them. Not, so I'm just talking about the characters now, not whether the movies are good here and them. Ant-Man. Yes, he's the Scott Lang Ant-Man, which I don't prefer, but he's a lot like he is like the Ant-Man in the comics for the most part in terms of, again, much like the way what's his face, Robert Downey Jr. puts his own spin on Iron Man, but he still looks like Iron Man at the end of the day. What's his name? Paul Rudd is not only terrific, he puts his own spin on it, but he looks and acts like Ant-Man.
And Lady Thoth actually loves Ant-Man. She loves that movie. She loves Paul Rudd. So
yeah, I do. I think he's great. What I'm basically saying is all of these characters are pretty much well translated to the screen. Not 100% all the time, but they're enough. And most of them, the better ones, are over the 80% range at minimum, for me anyway. And some of the ones that aren't quite as much, like we were talking about Scarlet Witch, at least he's well above the 50% level, to 60, and this kind of a movie take. But again, she's not a character that was always. I don't know. Again, they could have gotten a lot closer, but then again, they've done a lot of things with her that I don't really like. But point is, Vision, man, that's a guy that's close to 90%. Some of these characters, stay between anywhere from the 80 to 90% range, depending. And then you get Black Panther, another one. Black Panther, T'Challa, almost over, probably maybe you could argue over the 90% level in terms of close to characterization, the way he. Yes, his look is a little bit different, but not too different from comics. And his characterization spot on. So in characterization, in look, all these characters. Winter Soldier, very much like the comic book version. Not when he was Bucky, by the way. He was very little like that, Bucky in the comic, but still. Falcon doesn't costume not so much, but characterization way up there.
I actually like that casting very much.
I love Sam Wilson.
I love Sam Wilson. I hate that they went in the Captain America route for him because as a kid growing up with the Captain America Falcon comic book, he was
Falcon.
He was the Falcon. Like the two of them together were kick ass.
They were a package deal to me as a kid. It's the first comic I saw. It's called Captain America and the Falcon.
Do you know what that was for me growing up? That was the Batman and Robin comic book.
Right.
Captain America and Falcon were Batman and Robin.
Right.
And then when it's like me. When in Titans, when Robin became Nightwing, I was upset. I went, no, he's Robin. How do you change him? It's the same thing when they did that to the Falcon in the movies. I was like, no, how do you make him Captain America? He's already a kick-ass superhero. How do you change him from the Falcon and make him... Wait a minute. Captain America is Captain America. The Falcon is the Falcon. Why would he ever do that? If I'm Superman, I don't become Batman just because it's a cooler costume. I'm Superman.
They stole his identity. So he's another one. Great casting. Characterization gets him probably over the 80% range. His costume not so much, but still a great character. Okay, let's see. So finally, let's go to Namor. Namor is below 20. I mean, he's not even up to 20% in any of these categories. That would be like look, characterization. The two most important things are because these are visual characters, folks.
Right.
Characterization and look are the two most important things about it. You don't have to have a lot of elements to this scale. You could just use those two. Look, he's like below 20 or 10%. He's got green trunks, so what? And and let's see, characterization, he's well below 10%. Origin, he's zero.
Everything
about him, I just put him at some zero. And he is the worst translation of a major comic book character. Forgetting whether the movie's good or not, I think the movie sucks. But a lot of characters have been translated from comic books to film or TV. Right now, I would be hard pressed to find one worse than this ever. If you're going to find, now you might say, well, what about this one from this shitty movie? No, I'm talking about translating the character. Now you might throw one out there that I might go, that's close. I don't know if there's one worse. I don't know if you can.
I don't even think there's one close. Is there one close? He's the worst. He's got to be like 10% of Namor. The only thing about Namor that's similar to him is he's got wings. He's got the wings on his feet, and he comes from the sea.
And there's nothing else that is
the same.
Name only, and name only. I'm trying to think. There's nothing about him that's regal. There's nothing about him that is menacing. There's nothing about him that is noble. There's nothing about him that is interesting. He has a shitty, horrible, redone origin. He's not tough. He's not. I mean, he's got a dad bod. He doesn't have a Namor swimmer bod. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not the guy to throw straw. I'd love to be in the shape that dude in. It's not a knock on the actor. None of this is a knock on the actor. I'm sure he's fine. Look. He's a lot younger than me. He's in way better shape than I'll ever be in, ever have been in. But he's not Namor shape. Sorry. There's nothing about this casting that's any good. In fact, that's even borderline tolerable. It's all horrible, in my opinion. It's the worst casting ever. Not casting. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. Not casting, because I'm not knocking the actor. It's the worst interpretation of a comic book character I have ever seen, of a major comic book character. You might find some smaller ones. This guy's major because he's been around for 83 friggin' years. Yeah.
He's like Captain America level. No, I agree. For one, as a swimmer from the east coast of Canada, I'm a Nova Scotian boy. I grew up, I could swim before I could walk. And I will tell you right now, that is not a swimmer bod. You're absolutely right. That's a dad bod. But when you live in the ocean where you're fighting against tides that actually have more gravity than the pull of the moon itself, when you are going to have more than a six-pack. You're going to have a slim, trim, 8-pack body with muscles that would make Thor blush. So this character is just... So obviously the casting was bad, and I'm going to say something that is probably going to be terrible against the actor. That was the worst casting ever. He was a terrible actor. I don't know if he's a terrible actor in person, but as Namor, that was not Namor. And I think that it was their attempt to try to put a little diversity and inclusion in their movies where they could have certainly put it different places.
Did you see Gary's review he did? He clipped about 400 times where that actor and everyone else representation and all he kept saying.
Yep. Yeah. Of course, I can't miss it. being a Gary wrench, I can't miss it.
There you go. Exactly. It was spot on. I mean,
I find it this is a travesty against artistic integrity of all the artists and writers who wrote for 80 years on these comic books. And I think that a lot of Hollywood, a lot of people there today, they look down on this artistic endeavor as being beneath them because it's comic books, because it's art. And all the artists out there, I know you feel what I'm saying right now is that this is the artistic integrity of these characters, not just the writing, but the artistic integrity. And a lot of Hollywood and a lot of these people nowadays, they think that in their coffee-driven, bagel-driven breakfast where they say, oh, I've got an idea. How about we take this character and make him gay? Like, it's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. They took this character and they made him into a joke, and this character is not a joke. He is a mover and a shaker in the Marvel Universe. He is the sovereign over 80% of the world. He is power. He is prestige. He is nobility. He is technology. His nation is equal to Wakanda in every single way. And when you make him a joke by saying, I'm Kukulkan, and my villains call me now. No, your mom called you Namor. The Queen of Atlantis called you Namor. Not Namor from the bad guys who threw spears at me. Like, it's a joke, man. And when they make a character that I love a joke, I'm out. Yeah. I went Marge. That's right, Hungry Boy. I went Marge on you. I'm sorry.
Horrible, man. No, dude. No, I'm right there with you. It's absolutely disgraceful. It is. It's disheartening too, man. It really. You see this and you go, this is something this important. I know it's not important to you, Ryan Coogler. I know you don't give a shit what we think. I know you don't. And which makes us even because I don't give a shit what you think either. But I would like to. I would like to have some respect for you. Again, this is something. When we look at this guy's tumbling with Doctor Doom, for God's sake. Could you see that idiot in that movie having the gravitas to go toe to toe with the big D? Aravik Sundar, what's up? Hey there.
That's a really good point because let's not forget that Doom is as brilliant as Reed Richards, and he controls a sovereign nation, a powerful nation, and Namor and Doom had some unbelievable scenes together in comic books that were well written, that were deep.
Agreed.
And they're both intelligent men. When you make one of them a joke, it just totally destroys that for any future meetups in the Marvel universe. I think that obviously if you're going to do a Fantastic Four movie, you're going to want to have I think your origin story, because they're going to have to retell it for all these Hollywood 20-year-olds who've never really heard this story before, because we have to have an origin story every 5 years, like Spider-Man or whatever. But I think if you do the first movie, you do the origin story. But I can't remember if it was Chris Gore. It might have been Paulie, actually, from Latino Slant, or I'm sure it might have been Gary or Az from Heels vs. Babyface. Not that I'm dropping names, but I know that recently this discussion has come up where if you're going to do that story, just do like a 60s story with the cool characters where it was the 60s. And that way you can kind of forgive a lot of the issues that we had with diversity and inclusion in the 60s and then move from there. You could have them go up to space, do the whole cosmic radiation, get their origin powers, come down to Earth, and do issue 1, maybe issue 2. There's some really cool, funny, great villains from the Fantastic Four in the first couple years. And then if you do well, movie 2 could be Namor and or Doom. And then movie 3 of your trilogy could be Galactus and the Surfer. And if you do it, you don't stay too dark, but you stay dark, serious, a really good 60s science fiction storyline that we had back in the past, and you push it into the modern era, you could have a really good story. I think that would be unbelievable. Like, instead of going into this modern era where you have to tell a story for the modern era, just tell a classic story. That would be a lot of fun.
I'm with you. Oh, absolutely. You like my Defenders figures? I'm just missing a few, but you got the original group right there.
There we go. Oh, the Defenders. Wait a minute, man. You need to have the real Valkyrie in there, the blonde hair Valkyrie.
I gotta find her yet. They don't do a figure. Not the real. They had one that was kind of wasn't exactly. I'm able to get my hands on, so to speak. And
she's hard to find.
They did one, but not a proper one.
Right.
Look, don't give me any
static.
Oh,
T-Bud Martin and Phantom Outsider are saying the same thing I did, man.
Don't give me any static with that, dude. I would have her. Don't you think I would have her? I would have her, and I would get all the other later ones too. But at least I got the core group there. The only one really missing this, I would consider a core defender, is Valkyrie.
Yeah, she is.
Brunhilde, though, not that.
Brunhilde, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So sorry, I knew I would get the peanut gallery go after me.
Dun, 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 dun.
I love
Ride of the Valkyries.
But yeah, those original Defenders, dude.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that was such a great comic book too.
Oh yeah, especially those early issues. I love that. Speaking of Namor, did you can't stand Eric Larson, but Kurt Busiek wrote it. So it was one. Did you get that run of Defenders from the early 2000s when they brought him back? It was only last like 9, maybe 11 issues, and it was this. I forgot one of their older enemies cast a spell on them that every time anytime the world-shattering, threatening a mystical event would happen, no matter where they are, it was a curse that would draw the original group, Doctor Strange, Namor, and Silver Surfer, and the Hulk all together.
Yep. I had to get it because it was classic. Yeah.
And it was hilarious. And what was really great about that comic, each issue was sort of narrated by one of the group, each one. And they would talk about how, like when Doctor Strange, he would talk about the Hulk, Submariner. There it is right here. This was the first issue of it. I'm not the biggest fan of Larson, but this was his art. But it's fine for this. Anyway, it would say, and they would be narrating. Well, I love the issue. First of all, every time Namor and Hulk would get together, they would fight. They could not be in the same room, and Silver Surfer didn't like them either. And they had this one issue where the Hulk narrates it. He goes, "Fish man, shiny man, dumb magician."
Yeah.
And it was the whole issue was narrated by the Hulk. It was hilarious, but there was like one scene in there where when Hulk puts his hand on Namor, he goes, "Do not, if you put your hand on me again, if you touch something, do not touch me again," or whatever. And Hulk puts his finger on the touch, boom, big fight. It wouldn't stop fighting in the whole thing. And Doctor Strange was really going nuts. This was hilarious.
It was good, yeah. And Hellcat. Let's not forget Hellcat too, because I have a soft spot for her.
Oh yeah, I mean there were a lot of Defenders. I mean, it was sort of a loose association type thing.
Yeah, I actually didn't mind her.
All these time another ran around with the Defenders.
I actually didn't mind her in the TV show too. The Iron Fist TV show. She was one of the. Not Iron Fist. Was it Jessica Jones? She was in Jessica Jones, right? Hellcat, yeah.
Yeah, she was on there. Yeah, well, a sort of version of her, though. I mean, was she really that much?
Yeah, sort of. Well, I mean, everything has changed in the modern comic book movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark D with a C is here. Hey, Chief.
Hey, what's up, dude? What you doing, man?
He said he's lurking.
Yeah, you should. He's lurking. That's okay. I won't send you an invite unless you want one. But I mean, if you're busy, I know you're busy. He won't be here tomorrow night because he's on a special mission. But man, I know you, dude. I know you're up late, dude, because then you got to go early. But man, I just love talking stuff with you and talking this kind of stuff. We don't get a chance to hang too often, and this was.
If you want me to hang out, I'll hang out. I'll just go to work early or late. If you want me to hang out, I'll hang out. I'm enjoying. Yeah, I'm enjoying the chat, and I don't get to do this often, so yeah, I mean, I can hang out for a bit, or if you gotta go, I'm cool.
Oh no, we're here. I'm here for a minute. No, I still got plenty of time. But I was just looking for this picture. Look at all these different people who were in the Defenders, though. I mean, at one time or another. What a group! But there's Subby right there. He should have, he should have been there more.
So, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not forget too. The Guardians of the Galaxy were part of the Defenders kind of theme as they went along too. And you had Hellstrom there. I love Damon Hellstrom.
Yes. He. I guess say that again. There were times when I thought that the art wasn't as good, but the Steve Gerber run on Defenders was excellent, was well loved, of course. Yeah, it was a great group. I loved them, and Namor was there. So, And Namor, again, he didn't usually work well with others because, I mean, again, think about the character for a minute. This is a guy who, on the one hand, was in, he was in a super team, and yet he was a regular star in supervillain team up, which I used to love as a kid. But that comic, because I was around when that comic was on the stands.
Yeah, Marvel team up, you mean, or do you mean
supervillain team up?
Supervillain team. Oh, that was a great comic.
And think about that is as a kid, it made my head explode. I'm like, wait a minute, a comic book about supervillains? No, that's not right. Even though before that, DC had a Joker title.
Well, DC tried to do that too with the Marvel supervillain team up too.
Well, that was later. It was a number of years later before Marvel did it. But you're right. I mean, welcome, Mark D.
Hey guys, how's it going? Hey,
how's it going, man?
Enjoy the.
Hey, Chief. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah,
very good.
That's what the show was about tonight. Submariner Strikes Back. We're striking back for him because he can't strike back at Marvel. So somebody has to do it. Screw you, Marvel.
I had to jump in. I had to jump in when he started talking about Namor, and I started getting pretty emphatic in the chat. And he's like, "Hey, you can come in," and I'm like, "Oh, screw it! Man. I'll sleep in, and I'm working from home tomorrow, so I can I'll just start my shift a little later." And any chance to talk with Clobby is awesome. And now Mark's here, so now I'm really happy.
Dude, it's an open invite. You know that, man. Anytime. And
well, thank you.
This is something that we're all, we're just. These are characters we grew up loving. Ryan Coogler has no love for these characters, including Black Panther, by the way. He made that first movie with I would say he marginalized the character and ruined him in that. Ryan Coogler cares about agenda. He wants to make his own shit. He doesn't give a flying crap about Black Panther because if he cared about the character, he would have recast him. JD Lewis, good to see you, buddy.
That was the big mistake. Was not recasting. I think initially
that's a terrible mistake.
Initially, everyone felt still feels horrible. Chadwick was fantastic in that role, but I think the initial reaction was let's honor him by not recasting, but or they could have left his death
gave
open.
Him an excuse. I think gave him an excuse to just do the Shuri thing without having to put him in the movie and replace him. I mean, probably. I'm going to be cynical here for a second, everybody, and Deception. I said would love a Guardians of the Galaxy movie or something with real roster. Vance Astor. Yeah, well, you notice they put him in at the end of Guardians 2 and changed them all up, and it was kind of
Stallone wasn't Stallone.
They didn't have Vance Astro. He was Starhawk.
Oh, he was Starhawk. Yeah, which was a terrible casting.
Starhawk.
Yeah, that was the Starhawk.
Yeah, screw you, Gunn. But see, here's the
celebrity casting.
I think. First of all, let's say if we would have been lucky enough to have if Chadwick had been fortunate enough and had been alive, had lived, I think he would have been in the film. And I think by the end of it, they would have done some way for him to pass the mantle to Shuri. And him being amicable guy, doing what he's paid to do, he would have gone along with it. Do I know that for a fact? No. Okay, of course I don't. That's just a gut feeling because of the way the MCU goes. However, he didn't live unfortunately. So they have this opportunity to say, well, we don't have to deal with any of that kind of crap. We're going to just, I find it disingenuous. Maybe some people actually are of the opinion that somehow there's something wrong with or disrespectful with recasting him. Well, Chadwick Boseman's family is on record as saying they hope they recast the character. Okay. His family even says, of course you recast the character. So if his family thinks it's okay, that whatever they say about honoring him doesn't hold water as far as Disney. This was they said, look, this is a perfect way to just pass the mantle to a female, because that's what the MCU thing, and I do believe the great Gary Neurotic came up with that. If he didn't, he's where I heard it. Most people, I think it's his. I attribute him because he is a great filler. Whoever came up with it, but I think it was Gary. The MCU is exactly what this is what they're all about. It's extremely accurate to what they want to do. So they would have wanted to replace T'Challa with Shuri anyway, because it did happen in comics for a while. Good night, Sean. Yep. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Good night, Sean.
It happened in comics, and they were going to do it here one way or the other.
I mean, if I was the writer, if they hired me, which they never would, I would have, in his passing, I would have maybe had Chadwick die and had a really fantastic funeral, like you guys, a fantastic tribute to him with all the Avengers there, but then kind of left it open ended in terms of his death, like he mysteriously disappeared. We can't find
That's
him.
what I was saying. He's missing or something.
Yeah, and then you can do that. And in the comics, sure, it was what was it, 10 years ago now? She took over for like a year, I think, because Panther had disappeared. But you always knew he was coming back. It's just like how many times has Johnny Storm died, or when they had the 3 issue, and then
everybody
he
gets
was
killed in
coming back.
comics.
Yeah, so that would have been a nice way to give him the actor a tribute, a beautiful send off, and then down the but leave it open so that you can bring him back, and then actually have. I haven't seen the movie, but the story sounds horrible. But you could do like the Atlantis Attacks storyline from the annuals in the early '90s, maybe, or with Atuma in that one. Yeah, there's a lot
Sean
of
likes that one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
He's a fan of that one.
So there's a lot of different things you could have done, and you always have the heroes when they meet. They always get into the fight. There's a misunderstanding, then they team up, and then you have a really, then you have a villain that they've got to go against. So this really just sounds, from what I've heard, it does not sound like Namor. And unfortunately, with the way they decided to go with not Atlantis, I mean, when I see that, it just I cringe, and not because of the actor, because that's not Namor how he's in the comics. And you've read him for so many years, and the Byrne run was super popular too. And what was that, the 90s when that came out, or
early 90s?
Early 90s, yeah.
Great run, by the way.
It was really good.
Michelle,
yeah.
by the way, happy birthday to your wonderful daughter. Just turned 1 year old. That's wonderful, my dear. Big happy birthday to her from Clobberin Times.
And I hope you put the cake out and let the kid just like make a mess.
Yes, let her.
I hope tradition.
She gets to make a mess of that cake there. So
yeah.
I really think they really could have done a lot better with a lot better villains in the Black Panther pantheon than go with Namor. There was absolutely no reason to bring him in here unless they wanted to destroy another white male character from the comic book. That was a very alpha male. They decided that they were going to do that when there's some really cool Black Panther villains in there, and I actually enjoyed the Werewolf by Night Black, the black and white semi movie. It was like an hour long. It wasn't bad. I would give it like a 6 out of 10, but anytime, man.
7.
Yeah, anytime I get to see Man-Thing on screen, and I kid you not, when I watched that, I giggled. I went, "Oh my God, that's a Man-Thing."
Believe it.
Yeah, that was well done.
They changed them a little bit, but still, it was
cool. Yeah. But the fact that they were and I loved the Man-Thing. I love the Man-Thing and Werewolf by Night in the comic books in the late 70s, early 80s. Right. There's some really cool stuff because I'm a Moon Knight guy and Man-Thing guy, and I love the dark Marvel universe. That's why I love Blade. We mentioned that earlier, Clobberin. Yep. And I think that there's so many things that they're leaving untouched that from the Black Panther pantheon that they really could have touched on. That would have been much better than bringing Namor into this.
Yeah, but dude, they ruined his 3 biggest villains. If you think about it, Claw
is gone now.
Claw, yep.
By the way, Winston Duke is the only thing good in that movie because he's great as M'Baku, but he's not the comic book Man-Ape version. And
no.
And then Killmonger, which I hated the first movie, he's nothing like the comic book character, so I don't like him. So I don't know who's left for his. He doesn't have like a gigantic like Batman style rogues gallery or anything. So
I knew Hungry Boy would bring up that 2005 Man-Thing travesty, but I tend to ignore that. But thanks for making me throw up a little bit in my mouth, Hungry Boy. I appreciate that.
Hungry Boy. That's pretty bad.
That was a bad one.
But so he's got a couple. I think his main 3 baddies have all been ruined in the movies.
They have.
Namor. Let's make him a bad. It's just. And there's another thing. Why would you even introduce him in this movie.
You don't. No. You don't
maybe a
introduce
cameo
Namor
at the
in
end,
Black
and then you put him
Panther.
in his own- right? You give him a cameo in some movie at an end or end of something, and then give him his own damn movie, but not this version, of course.
Well, give him a post-credit scene like Star Fox in the Eternals. There,
Right?
like, hey, I'm Namor. Okay, I can forget that now, as opposed to putting him as the villain, and he wasn't a villain. I thought he was the hero in the movie.
Yeah, my daughter got all excited when she saw Star when he shows up. Like, who's that guy? She's like, he's so awesome. I'm like,
I'm Namor.
Harry Styles. Harry Styles. Like, who's Harry Styles?
Yeah.
Star Fox. Yeah, almost said Starfire. Yeah, Star Fox. Yeah.
Wait, your daughter? You made your daughter watch Eternals? That's horrible.
Horrible
we all parenting.
Went first night. Yeah, well, I had to review it, so I had to take someone with me. Remember we did the show that night?
That's right.
Yeah.
Did they stay awake the whole time?
They stayed awake, but some of they thought it was they were too nice to the movie, and then I'm like, come on, guys, this was hard. You know, I'm a pretty kind reviewer.
You're usually
it wasn't the worst.
You said it was horrible.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst.
It was
4 out of 10.
I had it at the bottom until this one. I had this nothing. Again, my list.
No, I had Shang-Chi as my worst.
I like Shang-Chi a lot more than Eternals.
Worse than Eternals?
No. I hated Shang-Chi more than Eternals because I own every single issue of Shang-Chi. I am a huge Shang-Chi fan. That was not Shang-Chi.
It's horrible. I agree.
That was less Shang-Chi than Namor was Namor.
True.
You know, I'm going to have to say, remember we were talking about this earlier? So we forgot about Shang-Chi. I'm going to put him on the same level as Namor of horrible characterization.
Yep.
So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Agreed.
Although the movie, I think, I have it rated at I've replaced my bottom, which was Eternals at 29. Now that there are 30, the 30 movies. Number 30 is Black Panther.
Okay.
Wakanda Forever. But I've got Shang-Chi at 26, which is still a 0 rating. So
yeah,
0. It's garbage.
Well, this isn't so. This latest movie was not Black Panther 2. That was Wakanda Forever.
No, it wasn't.
There was no Black Panther in that. So
no Black
it was
Panther's in that movie.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so that would be
Wakanda,
and that's my worst because of 99% of it is because of Namor.
Namor.
Yep.
Right. What it does to not more? Yeah, not more.
Not more. That's better.
What it does to not more. That's why I hate it the most, even more than Eternals. See, look. We reviewed Kirby's Eternals comics the day before we reviewed the movie. We all went back, Nick, Mark, and myself, and I think Sean. We all reviewed it. And it's not art-wise, it's some of Kirby's most wonderful work, but it's not as great as story, not as great as characters, in my opinion. It's not the zenith, and he has tons and tons and tons of other creations. Doesn't make it right. And Eternals may have more stupid than even Black Panther does, if that's possible. I mean, Wakanda. But it's pretty bad. It's horrible. This is like a scintilla. I mean, it's almost flip-floppable, but I put Wakanda at the very bottom at number 30 because of what it does to a character like Namor. I love Shang-Chi like you. I love him. And when you get into this bottom rung of 26 through 30, they're almost interchangeable because I got Love and Blunder at 27, Captain Marvel at 28, then Eternals, then Wakanda. They're all zeros. But because I got the 0 rating on all of those, but I don't.
We have probably our bottom 4 are probably the exact same. They might just interchange numbers a little bit, but yeah, those are the worst Marvel movies of all time. And when I say that, I'm talking about like 80s Fantastic Four, Captain America on his motorcycle. Those are better than these movies.
Matt Salinger. Oh.
Yeah.
Right? No, I hear
as
you.
a kid, that was fun to wait for that movie and see it on TV. It was like,
so bad.
My God, and he's Captain America. Check out how cool his van is, and then the motorcycle.
I like that van.
It was awesome. I wanted that van. Yeah.
Which one?
Oh God.
That was awesome.
Which one did you like?
The Captain America van. The van.
The van, man.
In the TV show. And they had the ramp that came down.
Was not as bad as Matt Salinger, at least.
No, that's true.
With his rubber ears.
The man with the tan van. Yeah, there's been some really bad Marvel universes and the Marvel Universe movies, and I would have to say, in the last 5 years, yeah, my bottom 5 are probably all the movies that have come out in recent history.
Black Widow.
Oh my God! Oh, do you know
I got
what?
that at 1 star.
Do you know what? I actually purchased the
Thanks,
1/6
Kello.
scale hot toy Black Widow from Endgame.
Yep.
And so I have her and the one from Avengers. So I have the two of them up together, and
That's very hot.
I love my Scarlett Johansson. I'm sorry, she makes a movie go from a 0 to a 1, but
that's the only reason I got Black Widow at a 1 instead of a.
Yeah, Black Widow falls out top. I'm thinking that if I was to pick the 5 worst Marvel Universe movies right now, Marvel MCU movies,
Right.
she's probably number 6. Like
125.
So, yeah, which is bad because I think she could have had a really kick-ass Marvel Universe movie, Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, back when we were talking Captain America, Iron Man, all the original movies before the Avengers. She could have had an unbelievably amazing movie, and Scarlett Johansson really is a great actress. She looks really good in that leather outfit, and like I said, that leather outfit alone in Iron Man 2 gives me Iron Man a 2 in my top 10, just from her being in that alone. So, and she's not even original Avenger. Like, where's my Wasp?
No.
Where's my Hank Pym? Where's my
Wasp is Michelle Pfeiffer? You're gonna see her in Quantum Mania. Aren't you excited?
Michelle Pfeiffer was
no,
good
no.
when she was in Batman Returns.
Well, yes.
She's not so good 30 years later.
No, that's what I'm saying. I hate what they did. As much as I like a lot of these MCU movies, I hate what they did to Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne. They just, hello there, Lisa. Lisa, good to see you there. Welcome. I haven't seen Lisa here before. Thank you.
Oh, Lisa. Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you. See, I hate what they did with, as much as, again, I love the first Avengers film and I love even Age of Ultron. Tony Stark should not have created Ultron. It should have been Hank Pym. I've been saying it forever.
Hank Pym. Yep.
And again, the way they put in Ant-Man, the way they put, Hank Pym and later Janet Van Dyne in those movies, it's fine. Michael Douglas is fine, and and Michelle Pfeiffer's lovely and all that stuff. However, I would have done it differently. I would have started with Hank Pym. You could have had Scott Lang later, I guess, but Hank Pym should have been there. So it really aggravates me what they've done.
Yeah, it does. It does. The Janet Van Dyne. I love her costume changes too, and the fact that she's this supermodel. If you were going to have a strong female character in your Avengers movies,
right?
Hello, right?
And the real guys here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have that Black Panther one. I don't have that Namor one right there. I have the. I've been meaning to get that one.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, I have the original somewhere from the FF run tucked away. I gotta pull that one out too. But I always like that costume.
I prefer the old look, but I like that costume.
Yeah, that's a good. And that's probably what they would have done in the movies, you would think. But
Hungry, you're right. Yeah, Hungry, you're absolutely right. I think a lot of us classic Silver Age fans feel a little ripped off by the Avengers and what happened. I love the fact that they introduced the Hulk. I think that is an integral part of the genesis of the Avengers. I do miss Hank Pym, Ant-Man, and the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne. But I do love having Hawkeye as part of that. And it's I'm a sucker for the old purple costume too. And I think the Avengers were a little bit rushed. I think they probably could have done some more single movies. They could have done some more individual character movies. We didn't really get a Hawkman movie. We got a not Hawkman TV show. We could have had a better Scarlet Witch movie, except we got a TV show that was terrible. We could have had a Vision and Quicksilver kind of show. I think they could have had a really good run where one of their villains was Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I understand not introducing Magneto and the X-Men and having the that crew, but I think that you could have had a better origin for Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch, but they rushed it because they wanted to kind of push it into the Avengers movies. That's kind of what happened. I think they did a really good job leading up to what they did with Endgame and with what happened with Thanos, but I really think they still rushed it. I think they could have taken 5 years and done some really good individual solo movies, have some cameos. You could have Captain America, you can have Tony Stark, you can have the Hulk show up in these movies, and we could have had a Janet Van Dyne, we could have had a Hank Pym, but they kind of rushed it into this comedic aspect. Do you know why? Because Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a ha ha ha, let's make fun of superheroes movie that did so well, and when Thor, which was very dark, we had the first two Thor movies be very dark and not comedic, didn't do so well. They went, well, Guardians did awesome. Let's kind of rush this in and make it the funny versions of these characters. That's what happened with Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, which is terrible. A terrible travesty to the original genesis of the Avengers and to amazing characters.
Yeah, it's just sad what what happened. Yeah, there's so much potential there with all those great stories, and Thor is one of my all-time favorite characters.
Yeah,
reading him for years, and then to see what, and that Ragnarok wasn't horrible in terms of the story and a little of the jokes, and maybe they started to go a little bit, but then when Thor: Love and Thunder was just totally over the top with the jokes. It was, just they instead of Thor being a fish out of water and some jokes, because he's a god and is immortal and is just so powerful, versus, him being the butt of jokes. That was just ridiculous. I mean, but going from what they did in Infinity War when the whole theater was cheering for Thor, standing up practically. I couldn't believe how how amazing, his character was portrayed. Mike, I guess, has a computer problem. He's rebooting, so we're in charge, LT.
Oh, woohoo! Security chief and a chief engineer are taking over. Well, let me tell you a little story about Lady Thoth. So we watched that movie where we got to see dead bod Thor. And I have never, ever seen Lady Thoth ever say, I want to get out of this movie and go. She almost walked out of a movie. I've never seen that before. And she was so mad because she loves Hemsworth. She's like, he's her get out of jail free card, right? So
wait, we got Loki's here. He's saying we got to change all the codes.
Change all the codes.
We got to change the prefix code. What's the prefix code for the Enterprise? Oh no, for the Reliant.
That's right. The prefix codes. 1, 2, 7, 6, 5, 4. Everybody got that? You know what, Loki? Hail to you, brother. It's great to see you in the chat. Thanks for joining us. We're talking
out of mischief, right?
Yeah, Clobby talked me into staying up past my bedtime just to talk about Namor. So that's what we're here for. But yeah, so a lot of the things that have changed in the Marvel Universe in recent history has been really antithetical to a lot of the superhero fans that are out there. And when I look at what you're showing me right now, you're showing me Namor and Black Panther from the comic books, the action figures. That's really what we love. And Namor is one of those characters who's been around for 80 years. We love that character. When you fundamentally change him, it just doesn't work. Oh, sorry. Hey, Clobby's back.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, I'm going to be interrupted. Cut you up there, LT.
I'm sorry, Clobby. We changed your prefix codes now. We're in charge.
I'll see you guys later. Then you close up shop for me. Thank you.
Loki changed all the codes, so that he's the one in charge now.
That must be what it did it, because I was getting a real bad noise, and I was going, okay, noise going on in my ear on my computer. No, I didn't have to. It'll probably blow up any minute, but No, I didn't have
Oh,
to
Loki,
reboot it.
Loki turned on his cloaking device now. He said, "Oop, he's back." Says, "No, it wasn't me."
What's up, dude? So, yeah, sorry about that. Thanks for handling it for me, though.
We
Appreciate
got you.
Rob 1, Liefeld 2 feet 3. Copy that, hungry boy.
it. Yes, yes, indeed, sir. Actually, I have an impenetrable codes that I use are so ridiculously geeky that even the geekiest of geeks won't know them for different like codes and stuff. Could not get them in a million years.
42.
Not even close. I mean, I'm not even kidding when I say I have certain like we all have codes for different things that we have throughout life that you have to make and
Yeah.
stuff. The ones I make are so ridiculous that even the most you'd have to know me. Even if you knew me for 30 years, you wouldn't guess it.
I heard you were number 2.
Well, maybe you could. Claude probably could. You are number. You number 2. I am number 2.
Could Aurak crack the code?
No. Not even Borat could get it. He would just say, "Fillet weighs 73 kilos, Avon."
Shout out to Blake 7. Avon lives, long live the
Avon
Legion.
lives, long live that Legion. And we've been on for a good while now, and I think we've struck back for Subby. So I guess we'll start making our way out of here by saying our goodbyes and doing our show notes and stuff like that. Thought, do you have any closing words just about the character of the Clobberin that many of us here do love so much?
Wow. All I'll say is shout out to the great creators and writers and artists that created this character, who put him to page back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, who showed me that someone could be a coastal person, love the ocean, swim with the fishes, and still be strong and independent. And it's one of my favorite characters as a Nova Scotia boy growing up in the ocean and loving this character for my whole life. I just wanted to say that I know that they're all turning over in their graves right now. They're all gone now. It's one of those characters that was classic, was a great anti-villain, anti-hero, and I'm sorry that we've seen the travesty that we just watched in that latest movie. I apologized on behalf of the human race in this era
Exactly.
that would go through this and would shout out, "Oh, this is a great character," which is an absolute affront to the people who created this being. He's always lived in my thoughts, in my mind, in my spirit, and I hope that soon somebody takes the reins at Marvel Cinematic Universe and creates the true Submariner, not Namor. So
No, the real deal.
Thank you for writing those stories, for writing those comic books, for creating the art that I fell in love with all those years ago. And hopefully this changes soon and we get back to loving the characters that we all fell in love with all those years ago. So thank you for letting me be a part of this, Clobby. Thank you for joining us, Mark. It's great to be a part of this.
Great to talk to you. Yeah, great.
Thank you, man.
For everybody in the chat, because absolutely this is the funnest chat on YouTube.
Thanks, man.
I love you guys, and hopefully I'll be back soon.
Great.
Dude, open door policy for you, brother, anytime you want, because we got all kind of fun stuff. We'd never run out of topics. I'll tell you that, man.
But he doesn't really know his comics, right? Just
He
kidding.
hates comics. Yeah. I think he knows a little
This is the
something
guy
about
that
a lot
has
of things.
I know one or two comics.
Daredevil number 7, yeah.
He knows
Yeah.
about all kinds of stuff. Mark, any closing words on this topic? I know you
sure.
haven't seen the movie, but
Yeah, I
you know
haven't
you
seen
like
the
the
movie, but
character,
it's one of always a favorite character. And like I mentioned, buying out that, I think I have most of that Byrne run back in the 90s, and it's just that he's a great. Excuse me, still have this damn cough.
which I didn't like, by the way, to go on record. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's Byrne though.
It's Byrne, yeah, but I mean, he's a great anti-hero, like you guys were saying earlier. Like he's a ruler of a kingdom. So although he might, you might think he's doing something evil, he's just protecting his people and looking.
He wouldn't murder a
for his
19-year-old
country.
little girl either, though. So sorry. Yeah, but go ahead. Sorry.
No, he wouldn't. Yeah, so it's just and the look of the character. My buddy, my voice is going. Sorry, but my buddy
Gotcha.
Tony DiPretta, his dad, he actually worked on some of the Submariner issues with Bill Everett.
Wow.
Get a drink here. I know this cough does
No, I
not
got
go
you.
away. I went through all my cough drops, so I'm out right now.
Oh, sheet. Yikes. I hear you.
But yeah, so it's just a travesty, So not what I wanted to see when I had dreams of seeing Namor on the big screen. So, but just go back and read all
Right.
those old classic comics. We still have those, so go enjoy those. And that's what we got to look at. And I guess this is what's happening. I guess the comics went that that direction. Now the movies went that direction now too. So that they flopped all the characters over. And even when they had Jane Foster's Thor, that run was actually really good. When they botched that story in the movies too as well.
They did. Agreed.
Oh, God, it's horrible. It's terrible. Hello there, JC. Welcome. And Matthew Pounder and Gwagnar. Your friends
Hey,
popping
guys.
in at the last moment there. I want to
That's awesome.
let me address something that JC says because it's interesting. JC says, and it's the first time we've seen JC, so I don't know what JC is into or whatever into or in terms of geek stuff, but says I'm Mexican, did not like the cast of Namor, but I've heard some Mayan descendants did like this character. Yeah, there are many that did. I would say JC that people who don't have an emotional connection to the character, which is fair enough. Not everyone should. I mean, only comic book geeks do. That's also fair. The thing is, this is a character that's been around 83 years. I don't know if you were here just a few minutes ago when our friend Lord Thoth was talking about his feelings about a character that he grew up loving. Mark just talked about it. A great many people grew up loving this character. So I understand that, that a lot of people will go to the theater and not know who the character is. And that's understandable. There's no reason they should have an emotional connection to the character. But for those of us who do, we find it very petty that a guy that Marvel and DC, they should know. In other words, obviously your average movie going public doesn't have to know it, but the people who are in charge of translating this character, interpreting this character to the big screen should know it and should do it justice and should stay faithful. They should, because they've stayed. We talked a little bit earlier about how the other iterations of the characters in the MCU were a hell of a lot closer to their origin source. This is as far off from the source now in the past 5 tries of movies, the character of Shang-Chi and now the character of Namor are as absolutely far removed from their source material as to the point where it has to be purposely done to ruin them. So that's just, again, from fans of these characters. Now, it's just sad. So, people like Ryan Coogler, who should know better, and Kevin Feige should know better, it proves that they don't care. They take something that a lot of people care about and use it for their own agendas and their own ends. And that's what tonight's show was about. It was about pushing back a little bit. Not that it'll matter anything, of course, but just us talking about why we're displeased with what was done with this character in the movie. I can't stand the movie anyway, and I think on its own, even if it's a bad movie in my opinion anyway, but this show's kind of this shows more about this character than about the actual movie, because I've already done on several different shows reviews of the movie, so we're not here for that. We're just here to push back a little bit about a character that we love, and I'll just end with this about the characters in the words of his creator, Bill Everett. This is his first appearance. Here is the Submariner. An Ultraman of the deep, lives on land and in the sea, flies in the air, has the strength of 1,000 men, is a youth of dynamic personality, quick thought and fast action. From whence does he come? What is his mission? We, of course, find out he's from Atlantis, that he has an Atlantean mother and a human father. He is very upset with what he does term in the first issues as quote unquote the white world, but really just referred to civilization of the time in the late 1930s and into the 1940s, the surface world, if you will. Back then, Bill Everett, who happened to be a white man himself, had his character refer to, and obviously you see that even though Subby has white skin himself and his father was white, he's referring to all of civilization as, quote, white civilization, which is, again, at the time, terms were just different back then. And he's angry at the surface world, but he does, even though he tries to attack it and is repelled by the original android Human Torch, he eventually joins the Allies to fight the world-conquering Axis, the superheroes, the All-Winner Squad, later retconned as the Invaders. He has lots of adventures where he does fight for his country, but also fights against other evils as well. He joins superheroes to fight. He doesn't always join on the side of good. Sometimes he's an anti-hero, as Thoth called him. He slugged it out with some of the biggest guns in Marvel history, the biggest, most powerful characters. He has, of course, later they retconned that group to call the Invaders. So again, he's fought in World War II on the right side. He's fought against the surface world on occasion, but he still has a great nobility about him, great powers, and cares about his Atlantean nation. He's not what he is portrayed at all. Nothing about this movie portrays him anywhere close to what he is in the comics, to the source material. And the people just give you this talk as if you shouldn't even, something wrong with you if you point that out. There's something, you're the problem if you don't like that and if you squawk about it, according to a lot of these Hollywood idiots. And I'm just not going to put up with that kind of crap. Screw them. Obviously we can't do anything about it other than not promote their movie and not necessarily go see it a bunch of times or that kind of stuff or buy their merch. But other than that, we can't do anything. But we're going to speak out at least. And that's what we did here tonight. And I want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you so much, you guys, for hanging out with me.
That was very well said. Very well said. Nailed it on the head there. Yep.
Thank you. Thanks. And thank you,
I was speechless because you're absolutely right. That's the big problem with what's going on nowadays, to the destruction of the great characters that we grew up with, that these people in Hollywood think that they can get away with this
and they can get away with it, but we don't have to take it. So,
or they're doing it because they think it's going to make money and get them points.
I think they're doing it for agenda, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
but you're absolutely right. Both of you are right. You both you're both right from a different perspective, and that's really what's the problem. Is a lot of people are just like, whatever, I don't care. But some of us truly love these characters, and when we see this kind of thing happen on the big screen, it upsets us. And I really can't truly fathom why they think that this is a good thing. Do they really think that this is going to be better? They're going to make the characters better than that's come before? That's really what I think they believe. They think that they're making these characters better for the modern audience, but the modern audience don't care.
No, and I think that in their hubris, they do think they're better. They think, in other words, how dare you criticize them? By the way, I want everyone to know I'm not knocking the actor Tenoch or any of the other actors. I don't care about actors, whether they're good or not. They're just doing what they're told. They got a gig. I don't care. And, there's no reason why they grew up loving these characters. I'm talking about taking something that a lot of people love and then dumping all over it, and better, like a la Kathleen Kennedy and Jar Jar Abrams and Alex Klutzman and Chris Chibi, those people. That's what Ryan Coogler is, another one of those. So is Kevin Feige. He's just one of these cultural vandals that doesn't care. In fact, delights in trashing things that other people that they don't even know love.
And they've said so as much. Was it
when
they
say it?
Who said that?
Waikini's another one. Yeah, I'll
he said
mythos in a minute, baby.
Yeah,
Why?
I mean,
you have
to
do that guy.
Yeah, you have to change things obviously to translate it to the screen, but minor things you don't want to change the core of the character. That's the problem. I mean, remember our big argument was about Spider-Man with organic web shooters, and when that first came out, and then you kind of overlooked it, but it still was kind of stupid. It took away from the character, I thought, but it didn't wreck the movie. But when they radically changed the origin of the character, his whole backstory, that's not the character anymore, so maybe people do like this new iteration, but it's just not
Mariner.
But it's not fair to the longtime fans to do something so radically different that's really not the character in any way.
Hey, Classic Comics.
Hey, Classic Comics. What's up, buddy?
Yeah,
no, this is not
you're
so
right,
bad.
Mark. You're absolutely
Mark,
right.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. And that's the big problem, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's some cynical reasons why I think they did it.
Yeah, they don't care. In fact, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and they delight in pissing off people that they don't even know just because these are, think about it, these are some rotten people in the sense that it's not like they said, look, guys, I understand you don't necessarily like what we're doing with the character, but give us a chance. Maybe you will like our version. They're not even, they used to, they don't do that. They even say, look, we're doing it. You don't like it. Screw you, fanboy. Go away and die. They don't care. So why should we be nice to them? To hell with them.
But I mean, we can been complaining about this stuff forever. Look at Doctor Doom and the FF movies. Although Johnny Storm and Ben, I thought they nailed their characters pretty well. Doctor Doom was a travesty. What they did to Doom.
That's awful.
And,
I mean,
what they did to Johnny Storm was a doom. Was a travesty. I mean,
well, but
because he's the same. He's my favorite. Johnny Storm has always been my favorite.
I meant to clarify the interaction between Ben and Johnny was just so
on.
Everything about
Yeah,
again, sometimes it's stupidity, sometimes it's on purpose. Right now, it is bile and it is on purpose. What they
it is. It's absolutely on purpose. Oh, there's no doubt about it now.
Not even
after one movie, I can forgive. Like 7 movies in a row, it's on purpose.
Right. And it's
look at
She-Hulk. Hate and spite.
They even mentioned in She-Hulk when we covered that.
She-Hulk admitted
they said they did it on purpose to get the online trolls.
Let the cat out of the bag where there's not even any room for discussion about it. You might go, come on, guys, they don't know who you are. No, they don't. They do know now. And they've admitted that's what's the funny thing about She-Hulk to me, is that you almost can see like Feige or one of these guys when he hears about it the next day, that these idiots are saying it in interviews right after that last episode of She-Hump dropped, where they're saying, yeah, we really stuck it to those geeks, didn't we? Like, wait a minute. Wait, you weren't supposed to admit it, stupid ass. I'm not even kidding. I bet he blew up. I bet he's like, no, you keep plausible deniability because we were always saying, oh, no, we don't care about, we don't even know anything. We don't watch those people. Clearly you do. And now you've admitted it. So good luck.
The problem is those are the people. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say they admitted it in public to the press. Good.
The problem is the people who are watching your show have been buying your comic book for 50 years. Why the hell would you want to piss them off? You want me to leave? Okay, I'll go. I'll take my very large amount of money I have in my bank account and say F you. So, and if I do that times 7 million people, that's a lot of money that you're not getting into your coffers. And that's what's starting to go on here.
Yeah,
They're trying to get this imaginary new fan that's going to come out of nowhere, that's just going to fall in love with the BS that you're spouting and buy your product. That's not happening. It's obvious. I go into the Toys R Us for the kids and for my nieces and nephews, and I go, wow, it's all 2/3 off. There's a reason why it's 2/3 off. Right. Why it's like $2 in the bargain bin. It's because you've PO'd all of us people who love this product, so we're not buying it full price anymore. You'd think that it would start to trickle down into their stupid little squirrel minds that it's the size of a walnut, where they start to figure out that they need to start being true to the characters that we've grown up and we've loved, because the people that are going to love this stuff after we're gone are, big revelation here, the people who are our children and our grandchildren, our nieces and our nephews, and the people that you think that we're buying Christmas presents and birthday presents for. What are we doing? If we love Spider-Man, what are we buying for our kids? What are we buying for the next generation? It's not Miles Morales, I'll promise you that. It's Peter Parker. So come on.
Until entertainment once again becomes a meritocracy again, it's going to be garbage. Look at sports. We're not doing sports ball talking. We're just saying, imagine if sports stopped being a meritocracy and you had to rotate the quarterback in based on his skin color or his social standing, or you couldn't you couldn't just put anybody out there on the football field or the baseball field or whatever based upon their ability or talent. Imagine a coach being told, no, this next play, you've already had that guy in here too much. You got to have this guy in this next play because because of feelings and because of, you'll look bad if you don't play this guy. Because the NFL is very political PC. But the one thing, once you step out on that football field, there's still a meritocracy. Imagine if that was not a meritocracy. It's already losing ratings because of how politically they are.
Well, especially with JT Kirk mentioning the Lions. I mean, come on.
Yeah, of course. The Lions fan, I'm sorry. Lions fans have it rough, I know. Sorry, but it's still a meritocracy. In other words, there's no governing body. Even the idiot NFL, like that idiot Goodell's, he doesn't call the Lions and say, you know what, that white quarterback's been playing too long. The second half, you're going to have to change that up. They do it with coaching. So I'm talking about on the field, though. They don't do that yet. And will really destroy the sport. Well, that's what's happening with entertainment, and it's just a sick shame. So anyway, I promised you guys I was getting down here, and we went on for another.
That's what always
hour.
happens.
I'm sorry, everybody.
That was Mark D's fault. I blame him. We always blame the engineer anyway.
Blame the
It's always
engineer.
Mark
We like
D
to
says,
change things. Yeah.
So thank you all. Show notes, folks. Let's see here. Tomorrow night, of course, Raquel and I, and only us because somebody's not going to be here.
Well, I've got a big charity dinner tomorrow night, so I'll be out for that.
Excuses.
It's all for the kids. It's for the kids.
Oh, I salute that.
Good.
That's what I do every Tuesday night.
Hide behind the kids, why don't you? Jeez, man.
What are you guys talking about tomorrow night, Clobby?
We'll talk about the usual stuff on the clubhouse. Raquel's been talking about all these science fiction films she's been watching. If she feels good enough, she's not feeling well tonight. I hope we'll see. It might just be me running. I don't know. But of course, thank you again, everyone who showed up to support Raquel's new book last night. Please, I'll put the link in a little bit to for anyone who has not been able to order that yet. But I hope again, I want to thank everyone who helped promote it. Just you're all too kind, and we love Raquel. Hope she feels better. Let's see. And then there's the clubhouse tomorrow night. Hopefully I'll be hanging out over at Nick's comic shop Friday night. And then Saturday night, Star Trek, as always, folks. 4 more episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, getting close to the end of season 3. Thank goodness. And then a double feature on Monday, everybody. The great J-Man and I will have a special Clobby's Classic Comics review show at an earlier hour at 6 p.m. Central. 7 Eastern, because that's his time zone. We're going to bring you into the wonderful bonkers world of Bob Haney. You have not lived and read a comic until you've read the craziest, one of the most insane, outrageous, bonkers comics you're ever going to read in your life. We're going to review it. Brave and the Bold, number 124. I am not kidding you. You cannot read this comic and keep your sanity. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to warn you up front. We're going to review it. You might be safe. Don't read it yourself if you value your sanity, and I'm not making it up. It is wackadoodle, but we're gonna have some fun with it and introduce you to the world of the wacky Bob Haney, for those who do not know, or Earth B as they call it. So and then of course we'll do a regular show later at 9 p.m. Central. So
I just picked up a stack of Sergeant Rock at the latest auction that I was in, the comic auction, that for like $20 for like 20 issues of old Sergeant Rock stuff. I can't wait to get them.
Nice.
I love that old stuff. Man. Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Very
so
cool.
Big thanks to everybody who's here with us tonight, of course. Shout out to our great wrenchers, the great Eric K., the Bronze Wrencher. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for all you do. Chris Persia, the wrench of the Vindicator wrench of the North, I should say, and the wrench of iron, the great D. Bud Martin. Thank you, buddy. And of course, Apollomy was here earlier, so let's show the pupper. Hey, pupper.
Yeah.
Hey, Apollomy.
We love the puppy. And a few wonderful new people popped in earlier. And so, hey, Lisa, thank you for popping in. It's always nice to see you. I don't think we've seen you pop in before. I hope you'll come back and see us. And Donnie, thank you for being here. Matthew Pounder, Ezra Goldstein. What's up, Ezra?
Shalom.
The great, indeed. Agreed. Shalom, indeed. The great hungry boy. My good buddy Loki. And I had a fun time with Loki earlier tonight on the round table. And JT Kirk, buddy. Good to see you. Matt, Kal-El. Thanks so much, buddy. Classic Comics is here. So many of our friends were here tonight. I can't even count them all. Phantom Outsider.
Brian Hepburn.
We'll do the proper shouts. Brian Hepburn. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. He was here. Glagnar was here. JC, our new friend JC popped in. JC, good to see you. Man, I don't have them all. JD Lewis was here. Yeah, wow.
Did we mention hungry boy /
Oh yeah,
hungry for some
For-
adamant babes?
babes. Yes. Are you familiar with the show Adam Adamant? Man, that was a cool show. There were some babes. Michelle O'Rourke Johansson was here. Michelle, I hope you have a lovely night. Let's see here. I think obviously we got a bunch of other ones. I can't run the whole thing back. Decepticon was here and J-Man were here. Good to see those guys as well. Great friends. Phantom Outsider was here. I think that's
That
about.
Mark D with the C guy was hanging out too.
Never
I
heard of him.
I listened to the whole night. It was a great show.
Never heard of him. But
Never heard
I
of
hope
him,
we
yeah.
didn't miss anybody. We'll shout everybody out properly on Thursday.
Hail
night.
everyone.
Tomorrow night that is. So thank you, everybody. Have a
Eric K.
wonderful
Yeah.
rest. Yep. Oh, of course. I shouted him out.
Yeah, I know. I had to too, because
Of
he's
course.
kind of my boss
Is he really?
over
Great
at
boss.
Nerdrotics place. There,
He's
he's
moonlighting. Look at him. You caught him.
he's a pretty hard ass. Oh my goodness,
that's in the
Paulie!
slant, sorry.
Paulie
Paulie's-
snuck
Hey!
in there.
Paulie. What's up, man? Good to see you. We're just running out of here, man. But yeah, I would have had you on. I would have had you on talking about Namor if I'd known you would have been interested in that. But yes, this was Namor Strikes Back.
Namor.
Yeah.
Rewind
Namor.
about 10 minutes, Pauline. Clobberin Times does a great dissertation on the movie. Really summed it up really well.
Oh, well, you're too kind. Not so much the movie, but the treatment of Namor. I guess.
Treatment of
But
Namor,
thank
yeah.
you. You're too kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Eric is a slave driver,
Yes,
absolutely.
Eric's evil.
He's like
Well, good-
he likes cracking the whip.
By the way, everybody, Polly, put that link in the chat there for the charity. Polly had a great charity show tonight.
That was a great stream tonight. I love that. I'm
Yeah,
waiting.
and
I'm waiting on my Mrs. Sloth and I are waiting on our new puppy because we
Oh,
are
really?
we're pet ridden. Ours are gone now. We've had a few pass away in the last few years, but
Oh.
we're waiting on a
man.
purebred beagle puppy that's a champion breeder up
kidding.
here in near Ottawa.
Nice.
And I said, so sweetheart, guess what? And she's like, what? Happy birthday. And she's like, what? And I went, guess what I have for you coming up in a couple of weeks? And she went, I had a beagle puppy. And she was like, oh, she was so
What?
happy. So yeah,
I
so
want a
when I
doggy.
saw, and when I
want
saw
a doggy.
Latino Slant's stream tonight talking about rescue dogs and stuff, it was just, oh man, it's hard not to go and pick another one up.
Yep.
I put the link in the chat there. So that's the SoCal Animal Rescue Squad site. That's the website. I don't know if that's the correct place to go or not. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's fantastic, dude. I'm jealous. I want a dog so bad. I wish I could have.
Do
a dog.
it.
I can't.
Do
where I
it.
live, but I can't. It's not possible.
Oh,
where I
sure
live.
you can.
No.
Eric K
that's
is
not my
going to get
situation.
one. He's getting a golden puppy.
Well, in my particular situation, it's not possible. Believe me, I would if I could. It's just not. If it were, hey, I would. I can't, but I do envy you. I'm in, but and I could use one too. I love doggies. Anyway,
Yeah.
and so
I
all
miss
right,
my
everybody.
doggy,
Well,
yep.
I want to thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. Please go check out Paulie's channel, and if you can, go help out that great cause for those doggies there. You could probably find the links on his channel and on his Twitter page there for Latino Slants. I totally slipped my mind when we came on tonight because I was on with Loki. I was doing so much that I had to put it in there earlier. But appreciate you all. Please go support Raquel's book. We'll end up with a little commercial for that, and then we'll have some end credits and say goodbye. So good night, everyone. Have a fantastic remainder of your evening, and hope to see you tomorrow night.
Clobberin!
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.